Chapter 280. With Flandre-chan in his arms, Wu Yen stood in front of his own house, staring at the door. He kept sighing as he couldn't lift one of his legs to take a step forward. A lot has happened in the span of one day, but that doesn't mean Wu Yen has forgotten about today's events. With the perfect memory ability, it's hard to forget something like this. If I'm not mistaken, Hinajuku, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Astria should be going out today. Also, I have to ask? They asked me to clean my house. If I'm not mistaken, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku should be wearing maid outfits and helping me clean my house. If I'm not mistaken, the house I was planning to clean today was probably turned into a wasteland by Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. If I'm not mistaken, Shoujo, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Astria shouldn't have gone out until late at night, right? And if I'm not mistaken, Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, those two cute girls, are probably still hating me. In other words, they shouldn't be cleaning up after me. In other words, Shoujo and Mikoto are already looking at the rubble of the living room. It's his own house, but Wu Yen stood in front of the door for 15 minutes without opening it. It's like he went out to pick up girls and came back late at night, afraid that his wife will teach him a lesson. Other than the aforementioned reasons, the situation is more or less the same. He didn't go out to pick up girls, but he did bring back a loli. It might not be late at night yet, but the sky has been dark for who knows how long. Flandre-chan looked at the house in front of her curiously. She looked at Wu Yen with a curious expression. Even after playing for an entire day, this loli who had her powers sealed didn't look tired at all. Seeing Wu Yen staring at the door in a daze, Flandre-chan pulled on Wu Yen's sleeve. "Oni-chan, what's wrong? Do you hate that door? Do you want Flandre-chan to break it for you?" Flandre-chan paused for a moment and stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Flandre-chan forgot. Flandre-chan can't break things anymore. Flandre-chan's words successfully pulled Wu Yen back to reality. Wu Yen bitterly smiled and rubbed Flandre-chan's head. "Oni-chan doesn't hate that door. This is Oni-chan's home. Why would Oni-chan hate it?" "Home?" Flandre-chan nodded and frowned. "Big brother, you're talking about home? Are you going to bring Flandre-chan home?" That's right. Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat. He checked Flandre-chan's expression to make sure she didn't see anything wrong with it. Wu Yan laughed dryly. "Technically, that's what I meant, but why do I feel like I have committed a crime? Why are you like this?" Flandre-chan heard Wu Yan's words, but she didn't understand them. However, she understood that Wu Yan was going to bring her home. Flandre-chan pouted in dissatisfaction. "Flandre-chan can still play, why do we have to go home?" This time, Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat, even his veins twitched. Looking at Flandre-chan, who's still in a daze, Wu Yan wanted to flip the table. "Play? If this goes on, it'll be late into the night. Oni-chan, let's not go home, okay? Let's take Flandre-chan out to play." Flandre-chan looked at Wu Yan with teary eyes. She even grabbed Wu Yan's shirt. Wu Yan almost spat out a mouthful of blood from her cuteness. His heart shuddered violently. Wu Yan wants to go home, but Flandre-chan doesn't. This is her first time coming into contact with the outside world and learning about all the interesting things out there. Flandre-chan, who has lived in a basement for half her life, knows that home is a scary thing. After all, going home meant that she couldn't play anymore. Therefore, Flandre-chan decided to act cute. Although she didn't know what acting cute was, after a day of interaction, Flandre-chan knew that when she put on this expression, her big brother would accept any request from her, no matter what it was. Flandre-chan has grasped Wu Yan's weakness very well. Just look at Wu Yan's wavering face and you can tell. But if they don't go home now, this might be the last time he can go out with Flandre-chan. Worried that his stance will be shaken, Wu Yan punched himself in the heart. Wu Yan's voice was shaking. He smiled awkwardly and braced himself against Flandre-chan's cheat-like expression. "Flandre-chan, it's dark now and all the fun things have gone home." Flandre-chan is such a good girl, it's time for you to go home. It's dark, we have to go home? Flandre-chan looked up at Wu Yen in confusion and asked, but why did sis say that we should go out when it's dark? Wu Yen broke out in cold sweat and scolded himself for being such an idiot. He has perfect memory, so why did he keep forgetting the identity of the little loli in his arms? Isn't night the time for vampires to go out? I'm really— Wu Yen forced a chuckle, but there was an unspeakable guilt in it. He had to do it to make himself look good. Now that he did it, he realized how stupid he was. His house's soundproofing isn't that good. The door in front of him opened with a loud bang. The scene inside the house was imprinted into Wu Yen and Flandre-chan's eyes. Flandre-chan was stunned and Wu Yen was sweating profusely. The two door gods in his house. No, the two wives in his house are standing side by side, one on the left and one on the right. Their brown eyes and yellow-green eyes were looking at Wu Yen at the same time. There was a smile in their eyes that made Wu Yan's heart skip a beat. But when the two pairs of eyes saw Flandre-chan in Wu Yan's arms, who was looking at them curiously, they were stunned and didn't say anything. Their silence made Wu Yen sweat even more. It almost dripped onto Flandre-chan's face. Just like that, the house fell silent. Until, Master Ikaros and Astrea came out from inside, and when they saw Wu Yen, their faces lit up and they called out in unison. Ikaros called out in a soft and gentle manner, while Astrea called out in a cheerful and energetic manner. Ikaros stopped after she called out. She turned her indigo eyes to Wu Yen and Flandre-chan in his arms. There was an inexplicable fluctuation in her eyes. At this time, Hinagiku, Mikoto, and Astrea, who was also staring at Flandre-chan, finally reacted. Their eyes lit up and they shouted in unison, "So cute!" The sudden shout startled Wu Yen and Flandre-chan. Before they could react, Hinagiku, Mikoto, and Astrea appeared in front of them. They looked at Flandre-chan in their arms and they started shouting excitedly, "So cute! So cute! This child! Hey, what's your name?" "My name is Astrea. Can I hug you for a bit? Just for a bit?" Looking at the three creatures with red hearts in their eyes, Wu Yan's cold sweat started pouring down like a waterfall. Flandre-chan stared blankly at Shoujo, Mikoto, and Astrea, who kept calling out to her. She panicked and tried to grab Shoujo and the others. Flandre-chan forgot that her powers were sealed. She stared at her hands blankly before she buried her head into Wu Yan's chest. Shoujo, Mikoto, and Astrea finally stopped. They looked at Wu Yen, who was laughing awkwardly with a dangerous glint in their eyes. Ikaros saw Flandre-chan hiding in Wu Yan's arms. She looked at Wu Yan's hands that were holding Flandre-chan tightly. She clutched her own chest. "I wish I could be like her." Chapter 281. Nighttime, smoothing out Flandre-chan's bangs, Wu Yen looked at Flandre-chan, who was fast asleep with her thumb in her mouth and her other hand clutching onto his shirt. He couldn't help but grin at the sight of her sweet and adorable sleeping posture. But that smile quickly turned into a bitter smile. For Flandre-chan's sake, Wu Yen spent a lot of time explaining the whole story to Shoujo and Mikoto. Perhaps it's because Flandre-chan is a child, and a child that Hinagiku and Mikoto love so much. The two girls who are usually jealous of him didn't turn on him for bringing a girl home. Of course, Ikaros played a big part in this as well. Since who knows when, Ikaros has developed a housework ability that's not inferior to a housewife. While Wu Yen was playing with Flandre-chan in Academy City, Ikaros managed to tidy up the ruined living room to the point where it looked like it was brand new. Wu Yen was flabbergasted by this. If it wasn't for the fact that Ikaros didn't have a time ability in her character status, Wu Yen would have thought she's going to become the next head maid. It's also because Ikaros tidied up the living room that Wu Yen managed to escape. If it wasn't for her tidying up the living room, the two girls probably wouldn't want to sleep with him again tonight. No, they don't want to sleep with him anymore. As for the reason, it's because of Flandre-chan, who's sleeping in his arms and clutching his clothes tightly. Maybe it's because it's her first time in this world, or maybe it's because her powers are sealed. Flandre-chan lost her sense of security and started making a fuss, refusing to sleep alone in a room. Wu Yen can still remember how happy Shoujo, Mikoto, and Astria were when they heard the news. They looked at Flandre-chan expectantly. The word "sleep with" was almost written all over their faces, but when Flandre-chan announced loudly that she wants to sleep with Oniai-chan, the three girls' happy and expectant faces collapsed at the same time, replaced by deep resentment and hatred. Of course, that's for Wu Yen. Thus, under the cold snorts of Shoujo and Mikoto, and the sound of the door slamming shut, Wu Yen has decided to sleep with Flandre-chan tonight. Personally, Wu Yen has mixed feelings about this. He's happy because Flandre-chan got close to him and even slept with him. That's a worry, as expected. It's because he didn't get to play the Papa game tonight. Sighing helplessly, a certain creature whose mind was filled with nothing but Papa glanced at Flandre-chan beside him. When he saw her cute sleeping posture, his heart skipped a beat and he quickly chanted Amitba. Gently pulling Flandre-chan's hand away from his body, he removed Flandre-chan's thumb from her mouth and tucked her in. After covering her with the blanket, Wu Yen straightened his body. He picked up Flandre-chan's beret hat that fell off her head and hung it on the edge of the bed. Wu Yen looked at Flandre-chan again. He couldn't help but chuckle. Wu Yen pinched Flandre-chan's nose and whispered, "How can you be so cute?" Flandre-chan seemed to have sensed someone teasing her in her sleep. She wrinkled her nose in dissatisfaction and turned her body to the side with a smile on her face. Her sleeping posture is even cuter than before. Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat and he smiled bitterly. No, cute can't even begin to describe her. Flandre-chan, you're breaking the rules. Right after he said that, Wu Yen heard someone knocking on his door. Glancing at the door in confusion, Wu Yen got off the bed. Who is it in the middle of the night? Afraid of waking Flandre-chan up, Wu Yen opened his door softly. When he saw the scene outside, Wu Yen froze for a moment before covering his nose out of reflex. His face was filled with astonishment. Master, the one standing outside Wu Yan's door is Ikaros. Of course, if it was just Ikaros, Wu Yen wouldn't have reacted this way. But now that Ikaros is Ikaros made, he has no choice but to react this way. A set of pure white made attire wrapped around Ikaros's tall and voluptuous body. The upper part of her chest was wide open, barely covering half of Ikaros's ***. The bottom part was a skirt that barely covered her underwear. Ikaros blushed as she stood in front of Wu Yen. Her hands clutched the hem of her skirt tightly. Her tall and slender body was bashfully pinching the hem of her skirt. Coupled with her oversized maid outfit, she's bashful. Oh my God! That was the only word left in Wu Yan's mind. Is this still Ikaros? That was the second thought that came to Wu Yan's mind. Ikaros! Wu Yan's heart was trembling violently. If he thought that Flandre-chan's sleeping posture was against the rules, then Ikaros' shyness is against the rules. Suppressing the urge to turn into a werewolf, Wu Yen gulped and stammered. Ikaros, are you dressed like this? Hearing that, Ikaros lowered her head bashfully, causing the fire of lust that he tried so hard to suppress to rise by a few notches. Ikaros didn't notice it. She continued bashfully twisting her body, and said in a small voice, This is the city's internet. It's saying that men like girls to dress like this." Wu Yan's heart was in tears. "Oh my pure Ikaros, why did you go online to read these things? Although, it doesn't look bad, master." Ikaros couldn't help but raise her head when Wu Yan didn't say anything. Seeing Wu Yan's blank face, she started feeling a bit uneasy and she nervously asked, "Master, you don't like it?" Her shy expression turned into a worried one. Paired with those pitiful indigo eyes and the pure white maid outfit, Wu Yan's heart started to throb again. Rubbing his itchy nose, Wu Yan smiled sheepishly. "Not really, I guess it's the other way around." Ikaros's face lit up, she asked softly. "Then, master, do you like it?" "I do like it," Wu Yan hesitantly continued. "But, Ikaros, why are you so proactive today? Stunned, Ikaros couldn't help but lower her head and whisper, "Because, Master." Ikaros didn't finish her sentence for some reason, but her eyes were glued to Wu Yan's naked Flandrechan. Wu Yan didn't know why, but he could guess that Ikaros was a little envious of his interaction with Flandrechan. Wu Yan shook his head with a chuckle. Glancing at the sleeping Flandrechan, he turned to Ikaros with a burning gaze. Exiting the room, Wu Yan closed the door behind him. Ikaros was stunned by his actions and he chuckled. Her hand suddenly reached out and grabbed Ikaros's shoulder. She pulled the maid outfit that was barely hanging on her shoulder to the side and pulled it down. "Ah!" Ikaros gasped in surprise. A pair of naked bunnies jumped out and bounced a couple of times. This made Wu Yan's heart burn even hotter. Pressing Ikaros against the wall, Wu Yan reached under her skirt and pulled down her panties. "Master!" Ikaros blushed as she called out to him. Wu Yan quickly cut her off. "Keep it down." Before Ikaros could react, Wu Yan forcefully penetrated her, turning her words into moans of agony. Chapter 282. Academy City School District 7, Tokuwadai Dormitory. As we all know, Tokuwadai dormitories are double rooms. 2 people live in one room. Just like Mikoto and Kuriko, they used to live in the same room. As for now, Mikoto is living in Wu Yan's house. Because of this fact, Kuriko suffered a heavy blow. Every day, she's muddle-headed and crazy, shouting, "Wani-sama won't give up on Kuriko," or "Wani-sama will come back one day," using these as reasons to defend her right to use the other half of the dormitory. But even so, under the efforts of the great dormitory supervisor, Kuriko's dormitory room is occupied by another person. This rule, even the LV5 Mikoto didn't have this privilege. You can imagine how great the dormitory supervisor is. But in this strict Tokuwadai dormitory room there's one room that's an exception, only one person lives in it. This room is naturally our Jusama, Shoujo Misaki's room. Even if she doesn't have this privilege, with Shoujo Misaki's ability to control people's hearts, it's easy for her to make her own room hers. At this time, in the bathroom of Shoujo Misaki's dormitory, Jusama is slowly taking off her Tokuwadai uniform, exposing her voluptuous body to the air. It's obvious she's planning to take a bath. She gently pulled down the white stockings on her thighs. If the scene of her bending down to take off her stockings was seen by those men who have a crush on Shoujo Misaki, they'll definitely have a nosebleed and never be able to get up again. Shoujo Misaki casually threw her clothes into a nearby basket, lightly caressed her body. With a confident smile on her face, she walked inside. Hot water dripped down from above, sprinkling on Shoujo Misaki's voluptuous body. The water droplets hit her soft white skin, creating a splash, following the curves of Shoujo Misaki's body, creating a beautiful arc. She lightly stretched her thighs. This free and easy movement is extremely seductive, even compared to those super idols. It's even better, not to mention those voluptuous breasts. If Wu Yan was here, he would definitely say that it was a foul. Shoujo Misaki shook her golden hair to get rid of the water droplets on it. She turned off the showerhead, sat down in the bathtub, and closed her eyes in satisfaction, enjoying her favorite time in the bath. After a long time, Shoujo Misaki opened her eyes and gently stroked her pair of plump breasts. Even if she only used a strength that couldn't even kill a mosquito, Shoujo Misaki still felt a strange sensation, causing her pretty face to turn red. Sighing, Shoujo Misaki couldn't understand. It's not like she's never seen breasts bigger than hers, but why is she so sensitive in this area? Because of this, even Shoujo Misaki herself rarely touches her breasts. Lying in the bathtub, Shoujo Misaki unconsciously recalled that day when she went on a date with that despicable bastard. Her most sensitive area was caressed by him. She couldn't help but feel annoyed. Shoujo Misaki fiercely slapped the surface of the water, as if venting something. She angrily said, "That despicable bastard, after taking advantage of me, he didn't even contact me once. What a scum!" After venting her anger, Shoujo Misaki lay back in the bathtub and sighed. "That guy, what is he doing now?" After saying that softly, Shoujo Misaki said in an annoyed tone. Probably being all lovey-dovey with that Misaka Mikoto. I really don't understand, what's so good about that pasty middle schooler. After saying that, Shoujo Misaki's starry eyes glanced at her voluptuous breasts. She lamented to herself again. I really don't know who will benefit from this. Why don't you benefit me? The sudden teasing caused Shoujo Misaki to lose her composure. She reflexively buried her body in the hot water. Shoujo Misaki immediately looked towards the source of the voice. Who is it? You were just thinking about me. Now you're asking me who I am? After hearing the voice again, Shoujo Misaki finally recognized the owner of this familiar voice. Her eyes flashed with a strange light. Then, she saw a figure standing in front of her bathroom door. Short black hair casually covered his forehead. A pair of wine-red eyes filled with an inexplicable charm. It made that ordinary face look even more handsome. At this moment, those eyes were filled with a smile, looking at her in the bathtub. He didn't even try to hide the fact that she was naked. He was openly admiring her body. It's you. Shoujo Misaki didn't know what kind of emotions she was feeling when she said this. There was joy at seeing the other party, anger at the other party openly admiring her naked body, and also resentment at the other party for not contacting her for a long time. All in all, it's complicated to the extreme. In the end, it's the reserved nature of a woman that won over the other emotions in Shoujo Misaki's heart. Shoujo Misaki's face was bright red, she was angry and shy. She shouted at the other party. What are you waiting for? Get out. Wu Yen turned his head away in disdain. Tisk. What, you just said that I didn't come looking for you. Now that I'm here, you want me to leave? Hearing this, Shoujo Misaki's embarrassment turned into anger. Then can you please pick a good time? Wu Yen snickered as he sized up Shoujo Misaki's jade-like body. He teased her. Isn't this a good time? I'm glad I picked a good time. You, Shoujo Misaki didn't know what kind of expression she should use to face this shameless guy. She only knew that her expression right now must be very interesting. This made Shoujo Misaki scold herself for being such a disappointment. As the queen of Tokuwadai, a queen who should be confident and free at all times, Shoujo Misaki was very dissatisfied with herself for being so easily swayed in front of Wu Yen. Perhaps sensing Shoujo Misaki's dissatisfaction, Wu Yen helplessly shrugged. Well, queen, don't mind it so much, you've already touched it, looking at it won't hurt. Shoujo Misaki sighed and buried her body into the water, trying her best to find some sense of security. Wu Yan's words made her even more amusing. Finally, Shoujo Misaki had no choice but to sigh and bury herself in the water to give herself a sense of security. Even if she thought of herself as a free and easy queen, Shoujo Misaki still couldn't ignore the fact that her body was exposed to the eyes of a stranger. But, isn't this the most adorable part of her? Her starry eyes met with Wu Yan's pair of wine-red eyes. For some reason, Shoujo Misaki felt an unusual fondness for his eyes. Every time, Shoujo Misaki would want to look at those eyes, it made her feel very comfortable. But after a while, Shoujo Misaki shifted her gaze and said to Wu Yen in a bad mood, You came here at such a good time, what's the matter? Wu Yen replied in a righteous manner. Of course I am here to see Jusama. Hearing this, Shoujo Misaki's starry eyes stared straight at Wu Yan's righteous face. She didn't say anything, she just stared at him. Following the silence, Wu Yan's righteous face became more and more shaky. Under the queen's starry gaze, Wu Yen quickly retreated. Fine, I do have something to talk to you about, Shoujo Misaki coldly humphed, and turned her head away. She knew he wouldn't come here without a reason. Wu Yen laughed dryly. What's the matter, say it. Scratching his cheek, Wu Yen kept staring at Shoujo Misaki's smooth body. Well, let's not be in a hurry, let's talk about the topic of, who should benefit first. Chapter 283. Hearing Wu Yan's words, Shoujo Misaki blushed. She realized that he might have heard everything she said. You heard everything? Shokuho Misaki pursed her lip. Her starry eyes reddened as she looked at Wu Yen. That's how shy she is. After all, if the other party had heard her words, it meant that her girlish complaints had also been heard by him. This is enough to make Shokuho Kosama feel embarrassed. Wu Yen put on a smile that isn't a smile on his face, indirectly telling Jusama that he didn't hear her mumbling in the bathroom. Shokuho Misaki's face turned a deep shade of crimson red. Shokuho Misaki could only lower her head, lower and lower until it reached her full breast. Only then did she stop. She was just short of drowning herself in the water and suffocating herself to death. Seeing Kosama acting like a little girl, Wu Yen rubbed his forehead with one hand and made a cute expression. His laughter, however, is a bit strange. It's obvious that he's teasing her. Shokuho Misaki really wanted to use mind control on him and make him run around naked to relieve her embarrassment. Alas, this beautiful wish of hers was turned into a fantasy because of Wu Yan's electromancer ability. Realizing that Kosama might go berserk if he continues to tease her, Wu Yan stopped before going too far. Keeping his teasing expression, he coughed and walked towards Shokuho Misaki. Shokuho Misaki was stunned for a moment before panicking. Don't forget, she's naked right now. A bad feeling rose in her heart. Shokuho Misaki shrunk back into the bathtub. Unfortunately, the bathtub in the Tokuwadai dormitory isn't big enough for her to retreat. Soon, Shokuho Misaki realized that she has nowhere to run. You! What are you doing? Shokuho Misaki pretended to be calm as she looked at Wu Yen. Her starry eyes couldn't hide the panic in her heart. Wu Yan's lips curled into a sinister smile. Shokuho Misaki wanted to warn him, but she was afraid of attracting the attention of the other ladies in the Tokuwadai dormitory. She could only watch as Wu Yen walked towards her, her body curled into a ball. Seeing this, Wu Yen snickered and teased. What's the matter, Kosama, are you afraid? Who's afraid? Shokuho Misaki wanted to be like before, puff out her chest confidently and speak her mind confidently. Unfortunately, she knew that doing so would only benefit a certain despicable bastard, so she gave up on that thought. However, Shokuho Misaki, who has always been the strong one, is obviously at a disadvantage because of this. While Wu Yan's jaw dropped, he also noted down Shokuho Misaki's weakness. After all, Kosama is also an important target of her third mission. And now, it's an even more important opportunity. Realizing this, Wu Yan's heart was suddenly on fire. Even his eyes looked like they were about to burst into flames. Shokuho Misaki's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Hey, Kosama! Finally, Wu Yen came in front of Shokuho Misaki. Looking at her dodgy eyes and her seductive body in the bathtub, he chuckled. Just now, you mentioned that you wanted to give them to someone. Can you talk to me about that? Talk your ass. Shokuho Misaki couldn't help but curse. She couldn't understand how this person could be so shameless. He has a pair of beautiful eyes. What made Shokuho Misaki even more confused was, even though the other party was so shameless that she wanted to skin him alive, why couldn't she hate him? This is a problem that needs time to be solved. Of course, this is a topic for later. Right now, the most important thing is... Shokuho Misaki's face was filled with embarrassment and fear. Wu Yen whispered into her ear. Kosama, why don't you give them to me? You! Shokuho Misaki glared fiercely at him, but her eyes met with a pair of fiery eyes. She panicked again and hurriedly avoided eye contact. Shokuho Misaki underestimated the intensity of the fire in Wu Yan's eyes. Even when she averted her gaze, she could still feel his gaze caressing her face, her breasts, her entire body. It's like a fiery hand caressing her face, caressing her breasts, caressing her entire body, and so, Shokuho Misaki decisively handed over the first time in her life. I'll go out first. Realizing that if this goes on, something unimaginable will happen, Shokuho Misaki steeled her heart and stood up. Thinking that being looked at once is better than being looked at many times, Shoujo Misaki stood up from the bathtub, lifted her feet and prepared to run out of the door. However, no matter how fast Shoujo Misaki is, can she be faster than Wu Yen? The answer, of course, is no. Wu Yen isn't surprised by Shoujo Misaki's escape. If Jusama stayed in the bathtub and curled up like a ball, Wu Yen wouldn't be able to do anything to her. But now Shoujo Misaki flashed by his side. Wu Yan's wine-red eyes flashed as if he could see through his opponent's silhouette. He saw through her weakness and saw through her plans. With quick reflexes, he used Dragon Catcher Hand. Thus, in the next second, Wu Yen grabbed a pair of plump breasts, one in each hand, and he grabbed one in each hand. And Shoujo Misaki, who thought she could escape with her life, looked at the bathroom door in front of her with a happy expression. But in the next second, her happy expression turned into a heavy moan. The reason, of course, is the pair of hands that grabbed her from behind. Shoujo Misaki's chest is her most sensitive area. Even a light touch on her chest would make her feel something. Wu Yan's action of grabbing her chest is even more absurd. Shoujo Misaki's strength was completely drained the moment the hands grabbed her. She didn't even have the strength to stand up. She fell backwards onto a broad chest. No, let go! Shoujo Misaki pressed her palms against the hands on her chest, trying to pull them away. But it was already the last of her strength. Shoujo Misaki gasped for breath. She was so ashamed that she wanted to die. Wu Yen once again grasped her weakness. Shoujo Misaki could already see her ending. However, all her thoughts vanished under the pressure of Wu Yan's hands. Her sensitive spots were grasped by Wu Yen. The thing called rationality in Shoujo Misaki's mind became a luxury item. His hands moved nimbly, followed by a loud moan from Shoujo Misaki. Shoujo Misaki's hands that were pressed against her own started moving along with her own. It looked like Shoujo Misaki was using her own hands to move Wu Yan's hands. Shoujo Misaki had no choice but to use her last shred of rationality to say those words. But, even if the meaning was obvious in this situation, it would only turn into seasoning for the ripples, and, under Wu Yan's actions, Shoujo Misaki finally lost her last bit of rationality. She closed her eyes and turned the pleasure of her body into the most direct sound, forming a beautiful melody. In the bathroom, she played a solo for the man behind her. Chapter 284. Inside the Tokuwadai dormitory, two young ladies of Tokuwadai were chatting and laughing as they walked past the door of a dormitory. However, when their eyes landed on the door of the dormitory, a look of longing flashed past their eyes, because this is the room of their most admired and longed Shoujo Misaki, their queen's room. For them, passing by Shoujo-sama's room with no longing in their eyes is unforgivable. However, the two Tokuwadai ladies who passed by the dormitory didn't hear the strange sound coming from inside the door. In the dormitory, the sound of flirting echoed in the room. The sound was not soft, but when it reached the door, it was blocked by the door. It could be seen that the soundproofing effect was not bad. At this time, Wu Yen and Shoujo Misaki were no longer in the bathroom. Instead, they turned their battlefield to the bed. Shoujo Misaki's breathing was a little rapid. Wu Yen, who was lying on top of her, could clearly hear her rapid breathing. This was only natural. After all, even for her lady queen, she had only experienced this sort of battle once. As Wu Yen kept teasing her, cute sounds kept coming out of Shoujo Misaki's moist lip. Because of Wu Yan's hands, she can't even breathe properly. "Queen, are you comfortable?" While his hands kept rubbing her chest, Wu Yen asked Shoujo Misaki with a devilish smile. It's rare for her to be this weak. If he doesn't tease her a little, Wu Yen won't be able to forgive himself. Shoujo Misaki's face turned red. This is too magical. It's rare to see her blushing, although a certain someone has been lucky enough to witness it many times. It's just that Shoujo Misaki didn't have the strength to speak. Her sensitive spots were constantly being electrocuted into the deepest part of her heart, causing her body to tense up like a string. waiting for someone to exert force and snap it. And obviously, Wu Yan is that final force. Unknowingly, Wu Yan's hand seemed to be guided by some unknown force. It slid down from Shokuho Misaki's slender waist and landed somewhere else. Feeling a certain part of her body being caressed and kneaded, Shokuho Misaki's eyes widened. Her starry eyes were filled with emotions, making Wu Yan's heart tremble. Wu Yan whispered into Shokuho Misaki's ear. "Jusama, your eyes are so beautiful." Hearing this, Shokuho Misaki's starry eyes lit up. A faint sense of happiness welled up in her heart. Shokuho Misaki suddenly didn't feel as fearful as she had been in the past. No one knows about Shokuho Misaki's past. Who are her parents? What kind of past did she have? What kind of past pushed her to become a LV5, who is second only to a handful of people? No one knows, not even Wu Yan, but, thinking about the endless darkness in Academy City, and Jusama's ability to control people's hearts, one can imagine that Jusama's past is definitely not that good. Ignoring everything else, just looking at Jusama's starry eyes, the emotion she showed towards Wu Yan, it's clear that this pair of starry eyes brought back some bad memories for Jusama. That's why, when Wu Yan said the same thing to her when they first met, Jusama's reaction was so strange, and now, when he said the same thing again, Shokuho Misaki's heart was filled to the brim. She closed her eyes, her pair of soft breasts actually stuck out, as if they're offering themselves up for Wu Yan to play with. Wu Yan can feel that something's different about Shokuho Misaki, but that doesn't stop Wu Yan from continuing with what he's about to do. Shokuho Misaki's pair of soft breasts, they're just too beautiful. The softness in his hand is constantly attracting Wu Yan's hand, making his fingers move involuntarily, and each of his movements would make Shokuho Misaki's body tremble. Heavy muffled moans came out from between Shokuho Misaki's fingers. The feeling in her chest, as well as a certain part of her lower body, made Shokuho Misaki's heart that hasn't been moved for a long time, it started to feel uneasy. Unable to hold back that feeling, unable to hold back her own voice, Shokuho Misaki actually took the initiative to kiss Wu Yan's lips. This time, it's Wu Yan's turn to be surprised. His eyes widened, looking at Shokuho Misaki's pretty face in front of him. Wu Yan couldn't believe it, because this is the first time he's been kissed by someone forcefully. When he came back to his senses, Wu Yan couldn't help but cry. He thought he would be able to gain the upper hand against Jusama. He didn't expect Jusama to be Jusama after all. She's always the one on top, never the one on the bottom. However, such thoughts were quickly drowned out by the pleasure of their tongues intertwining. Wu Yan simply rolled his tongue, entangling it with Shokuho Misaki's tongue, and then, he fully immersed himself in kissing Shokuho Misaki. Shokuho Misaki's little face is completely red, not sure if it's because of shyness, or because of the pleasure of her body, but in short, Shokuho Misaki at this time is like an ostrich, very cute. Between the overlapping lips, more smooth saliva slowly flowed in their mouths, intertwining two little tongues, but at the same time, it brought great pleasure to both of them, especially Wu Yan. The smoothness of Shokuho Misaki's tongue made him even more excited. While Shokuho Misaki's feeling is a little different from Wu Yan's, it's pretty much the same. Shokuho Misaki never thought that just kissing could bring her so much pleasure. Last time in the amusement park, although she already had a taste, at that time, because it was her first kiss, Shokuho Misaki didn't have much awareness. She didn't really think about how she was feeling. Now, after seriously kissing Wu Yan, Shokuho Misaki realized that kissing is such a beautiful thing. In the past, Shokuho Misaki didn't understand why a woman would need a man to rely on. She thought, even though I'm just a woman, but at the same time, I'm also a queen-sama, men are just toys in my hands. With her mind control ability, Shokuho Misaki has the qualifications to say this. Especially after using her ability to peek into the dirty thoughts in the hearts of those men, she felt that way even more. Now, after kissing Wu Yan deeply, Shokuho Misaki suddenly understood why a woman would need a man. Shokuho Misaki couldn't peek into Wu Yan's thoughts, but with her understanding of Wu Yan, She's afraid that Wu Yan's dirty thoughts are no less than those men she looked down on. But, everything in this world is so strange. Shoujo Misaki, who looked down on men's dirty thoughts, at this time, felt that if it was Wu Yan, she wouldn't be unable to accept it. That's why sometimes, a woman's thoughts are so unfathomable, and so blind. So, they need more love, including Shoujo Misaki. Chapter 285. Ha ha Wu. Shoujo Misaki's eyes were filled with tears. Under the effect of her starry eyes, the twinkling stars in her golden pupils looked like they grew in water, giving people a magical feeling. At this time, Shoujo Misaki was like a crying girl. Her eyes were filled with tears and her mouth was making whimpering sounds. People who don't know what's going on would think that Shoujo Misaki is crying, her two tongues intertwined. Her moist lips couldn't stop the moans that came out of her mouth. Her sensitive body made her look like a helpless little girl. As long as someone blows on her, big drops of tears would fall from her starry eyes. After a long time, two pairs of lips finally separated under Wu Yan's slight force. A soft pop sound was heard, making Shoujo Misaki's already red face even redder. The shy Shoujo Misaki didn't know how attractive she was. Wu Yan's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What's more, Shoujo Misaki was still naked. A soft cry came out of Shoujo Misaki's mouth. That's because Wu Yan's hands had already split into two, one above and one below, grabbing her mounds and started to knead them. Ah Wu-en, a sensitive spot is a sensitive spot. Under his teasing, Shoujo Misaki surrendered without hesitation. She raised her head and moaned in a mixture of pain and pleasure. Her moaning made Wu Yan's heart burn with lust. He couldn't wait to take advantage of Jusama right there and then. Gently caressing Shoujo Misaki's thigh, Wu Yan felt that it wasn't time yet. He could only suppress the lust in his heart and continue to tease Shoujo Misaki's sensitive body. For some reason, this sensitive body didn't last long, making Wu Yan feel suffocated. At the same time, the power that was supporting Shoujo Misaki all this time seemed to have disappeared. Shoujo Misaki's hands seemed to have lost their bones. They drooped down softly. All the power was removed. Only her lips were left, as if they were supported by another power. They were constantly moving, gasping for breath, moaning, begging for mercy. They were all coming out from those lips. It seems that the kiss from before has caused Shoujo Misaki to lose a lot of her power. Hugging Shoujo Misaki's delicate body, Wu Yan could clearly feel the unique softness of the girl in his arms. Smooth, soft, almost all of it was applied to Wu Yan's naked body. Their bodies were almost overlapping, allowing Wu Yan to feel every inch of Shoujo Misaki's skin. Really, no matter where it is, it's soft. It's a kind of limitless softness, without layers, without limits. It's a softness that embraces everything. What are you doing? Feeling Wu Yan's body and his heartbeat that is several times stronger than her own, Shoujo Misaki pulled Wu Yan's hand uneasily. She squeezed out a few words from her mouth and said to Wu Yan, "It's clear that Shoujo Misaki hasn't completely let go of her emotions. Some things don't need to be said out loud. At times like this, both sides can sense each other's emotions. Just like how Wu Yan can sense Shoujo Misaki's uneasiness, Shoujo Misaki can also sense what Wu Yan wants to do. It's natural for Shoujo Misaki to feel uneasy. Everything happened too fast. Just like the first time she had intimate contact with Wu Yan, it's so fast that Shoujo Misaki couldn't catch her breath. How could she have imagined that she was just taking a shower like normal, but the result was that she was covered in sheets by this person who just barged into her life not long ago? Shoujo Misaki also didn't expect Wu Yan to have already planned to push her down. This, clearly, she has only known him for less than 3 months plus. The time they met was only a few times. That's why everything in this world is so strange. Of course, it's about doing this and that with Jusama. At this time, one of Wu Yan's hands is still on Shoujo Misaki's soft buttocks, the other hand is still on Shoujo Misaki's plump soft flesh, maintaining the position of moving his hands up and down. Wu Yan smiled evilly at Shoujo Misaki. Wu Yen can feel that after he said those words, Shoujo Misaki's soft breasts that are different from her buttocks, a violent thump, thump, heartbeat. Without a doubt, Shoujo Misaki is panicking. Wait. Shoujo Misaki shook her head in a fluster. Her face was still flushed red. It made Wu Yen feel suffocated. Isn't this too fast, Ju-sama? Wu Yan's hand touched Shoujo Misaki's warm breasts, gently squeezing them. Her warm body quivered and quieted down. Some things can't be measured with time, although Wu Yan's words, from a certain point of view, are correct and philosophical, but when he said it at this time, it gave Shoujo Misaki a feeling, trap. It's too much of a trap. At this time, Wu Yen is still holding Shoujo Misaki's breasts, one on top and one on bottom. He lifted Shoujo Misaki's body from the bed and straddled her on top of him. For some reason, Wu Yen likes this position. Shoujo Misaki, under Wu Yan's guidance, sat on top of Wu Yen. She could feel Wu Yan's evil intentions. She felt something hard pressing against her buttocks. Shoujo Misaki panicked. Wait! She grabbed onto Wu Yan's shoulders tightly. She screamed in panic. But as she screamed, her voluptuous body was pressed down by Wu Yen. Yuwa! Shoujo Misaki could feel something inside her body, followed by the shattering of something else inside her body, followed by a sharp pain. She couldn't help but feel a sharp pain in her chest. Shoujo Misaki couldn't help but sigh. Like a swan that was shot by a hunter's arrow, Shoujo Misaki fiercely raised her head and let out a miserable cry. The cry echoed throughout the room, showing the pain of its owner. Such intense pain. Shoujo Misaki, who has never suffered any physical trauma, broke down her tears. Big drops of tears flowed out from her eyes and dripped onto Wu Yan's body. It hurts, you evil bastard, you made me hurt you. Her hands gripped onto Wu Yan's shoulders so hard that they turned blue, but Shoujo Misaki still felt that this is not enough to vent her pain, so she complained to Wu Yan, who took everything away from her. At this moment, she also has the right to complain. All right, don't cry. Wu Yan coaxed Shoujo Misaki like he's coaxing a child. Such a clumsy method, but at this moment it's surprisingly effective. It made Shoujo Misaki feel a lot better, and her tears also lessened a lot. After the pain subsided, a strong sense of emptiness spread throughout Shoujo Misaki's body, causing her to involuntarily twist her body. Receiving Shoujo Misaki's signal, Wu Yan simply shrugged, causing Shoujo Misaki to let out another cry, but this time, it's mostly happiness. Finally, he can fully enjoy the beauty. Wu Yan hugged Shoujo Misaki's voluptuous body and began to toss her up and down, enjoying the wonderful pleasure that comes from both body and mind. Moaning sounds could be heard. Chapter 286. In Tokuwadai's dormitory, none of the ladies knew that their most respected and worshipped Shoujo Shirsama, Queen Shoujo Shirsama, had been devoured by the scum. They hated the most while they were happily discussing some skincare products and some pretty clothes. Not even a single bone was left behind inside Shoujo Misaki's dorm room. The fierce battle is still going on. The world outside the door is completely isolated from the world inside. At this point, Shoujo Misaki was lying on her bed, her hands tightly gripping the sheets in front of her. Her face was flushed with the most joyous of moods, and the sounds of moaning were coming from her lips. Her body kept swaying back and forth, and with each swing, Shoujo Misaki let out a heavy moan. As a result, a certain wolf, who was grabbing Shoujo Misaki's waist and kneeling behind her, moved even faster. Shoujo Misaki is like a small boat in the middle of a storm, following the source of the storm behind her. It's like she's about to crash, dancing with the wind. Even she doesn't know when she'll fall. What Shoujo Misaki didn't know was that the expression on her face that was enough to suffocate a certain someone, or the desire that was enough to kill a certain someone's heart, were all factors that led to her being subjected to an even more violent storm. Her curvaceous body was covered in a faint pink glow. Drops of sweat were secreted from her pores and formed on her body. Every time a bead of sweat appeared, it would be accompanied by a suspicious but pleasant fragrance from Shoujo Misaki's body, making the two who were in the midst of the greatest pleasure feel a burst of desire. The sweat dripped down Shoujo Misaki's body in a beautiful arc and dripped onto the white sheets as if it had completed its mission in life. Because of this, the sheets under Shoujo Misaki's body were soaked as if they were fished out of water. However, this humidity didn't make Shoujo Misaki or Wu Yen feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, they felt that this wasn't enough. Thus, this is another factor that made Wu Yen push the cart as hard as he could. One by one, these factors led to the current situation. Wu Yen was like a drilling machine, and Shoujo Misaki's body was shaking violently, along with the waves of moans that would make a saint go crazy. At some point, Shoujo Misaki's body suddenly tensed up. She grabbed the bed sheet with both hands, and at the same time, her toes curled up. An inexplicable sense of pleasure came from inside her body. Shoujo Misaki didn't know what this is, but she got flustered. She turned around and looked at Wu Yen with a flushed face. She yelled out in a flirtatious manner. Wait! Wait! Wu Yen held his breath. Shoujo Misaki didn't know how much of an effect she had on him with such a seductive expression. Her face flushed red, and her eyes filled with lust, gasping for air. Wu Yen didn't stop like Shoujo Misaki expected him to. Instead, he increased his speed and charged at Shoujo Misaki. The powerful impact caused Shoujo Misaki to cry out in pain. She felt something was about to break out of her body as Wu Yen pushed harder. She raised her head and screamed. You! If someone passed by at this time, it's impossible that they didn't notice anything. At the same time, Wu Yen also let out a satisfied breath. His face was like a spring breeze, as if something that made him uncomfortable has been released from his body. It's comfortable, comfortable, Yu. Shoujo Misaki's body began to twitch, and she let out a small whimper, which would make anyone who heard it feel their blood boil. It's a shame that the only audience in the room had already extinguished the fire in his heart after hearing Shoujo Misaki's loud cry. Of course, it's only at the right time. If it was any later, the fire would have started burning again. After a long while, Wu Yen finally smiled and laid down on the bed. Shoujo Misaki also fell heavily on the bed. Her eyes were blurred, her breasts were moving up and down as she breathed. Shoujo Misaki tried her best to open her starry eyes and look at Wu Yan's face. When she saw the proud smile on Wu Yan's face, Shoujo Misaki's flushed face was filled with anger. She pinched Wu Yan's waist hard. Of course, Shoujo Misaki's so-called heavy is just her own opinion. Her stamina has long been depleted in that battle of attrition. Tell me, did you calculate everything? Shoujo Misaki's thoughts aren't without reason. Of all the times to come to her, he chose to come to her when she's taking a bath. Isn't this intentional? Too bad, Shoujo Misaki doesn't know that in this world, there's a guy called the pickup hand. Every time he opens the door, it's intentional, because at that time, there's always one or two girls taking a bath. With Shoujo Misaki's strength, she can't even hurt a strand of hair. But Wu Yen still pretended to be in pain. He cried out, I'm innocent. This is really a coincidence. As if I'd believe you. Shoujo Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yen when she regained some of her strength. However, when she thought about how Wu Yen had tried all sorts of tricks on her, Shoujo Misaki couldn't help but feel annoyed. Since when did I, Shoujo Misaki, become someone who can be manipulated by others? Perhaps because of the past, Shoujo Misaki hated the feeling of being manipulated, even if it was in bed. So, Shoujo Misaki made a quick decision. She flipped her body, and under Wu Yan's stunned expression, Shoujo Misaki rode on top of Wu Yan's body. Seeing Wu Yan's stunned expression, Shoujo Misaki giggled. You tricked me just now. This time, it's my turn. Wu Yen stuttered as if he was scared out of his wits. Jusama! Shoujo Misaki glared at Wu Yen. She rudely interrupted. What are you doing? Do you have a problem with that? Wu Yen was stunned. After a while, he managed to squeeze out a sentence. Do you still have strength? Shoujo Misaki's face turned red. She shouted angrily. It's none of your business. You're the one who benefits in the end anyway. Why are you talking so much? And so Wu Yen shut his mouth. He couldn't help but feel a strange desire in his heart. Maybe it's not a bad idea to take the queen by force. Shoujo Misaki gritted her teeth. Her body trembled. She suppressed the shyness in her heart and slowly sat down in Wu Yan's arms. When the two were tightly connected again, Wu Yan let out a satisfied sigh, while Shoujo Misaki let out a soft moan. Then, using his half-baked skill of mind control to peek into other people's minds, he slowly began to use it, looking at the pair of throbbing breasts in front of him, listening to the soft moans in his ears, and feeling the comfort of his body. Wu Yen closed his eyes and focused on enjoying himself. The moans never stopped. Chapter 287. Shoujo Misaki is under a lot of pressure, especially at a time like this. As an offensive queen, Shoujo Misaki's wish to become an offensive queen may sound good, but reality is cruel. If Shoujo Misaki were to use her mind control to turn a woman into a super attacker, it would be a piece of cake. But when it comes to herself, even if she could change her personality with her ability, it would still be very stressful for her to do so. After all, our Jusama is a sports idiot. Stamina. That's her weakness. Thus, her Lady Queen became a true 3 minutes god. After 3 minutes, her Lady Queen changed from a strong aggressor to a strong aggressor. As for this so-called aggressor, it was all in the mouth. Shoujo Misaki is under a lot of pressure, but at the same time, she should be thankful that she's not a man. It was another storm. After that, the two lay back down on the bed, panting softly with their eyes closed, enjoying the aftershocks of their lovemaking. The sheets on his back couldn't get any wetter. At this time, the person lying on it should feel uncomfortable, but for some reason, Wu Yen didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he felt comfortable, like he's in a hot spring. As for Jusama, lying on top of Wu Yen, how can a bed sheet be more comfortable than a meat cushion? Stroking Shoujo Misaki's smooth back, Wu Yen had to admit that Jusama's body is pretty damn good. Even if she doesn't have that pair of boobs, Jusama's voluptuous curves alone is enough to make anyone fall head over heels for her. Shoujo Misaki didn't know what Wu Yen is thinking about. But, judging by the fact that something inside her that hasn't left her body is back in high spirits, Shoujo Misaki can guess what's going on. Shoujo Misaki quickly said to Wu Yen, "Don't do it again, I can't take it anymore." Hearing this, Wu Yan's hand paused. He had no choice but to stop. With Jusama's physique, it's a miracle that she can last this long. Seeing this, Shoujo Misaki couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then she was secretly annoyed, and at the same time she sighed helplessly. She seems to have been begging for mercy, and this time too, as an offensive queen, Shoujo Misaki is under a lot of pressure. Whenever she thinks about how she's begging for mercy, Shoujo Misaki can't help but feel anger rising from the bottom of her heart. She's not going to be nice to the guy who forced himself on her. Shoujo Misaki's starry eyes were filled with dissatisfaction as she said in a slightly annoyed tone, "All right, now that you've taken advantage of me and eaten me, it's time for you to tell me why you're here?" Wu Yen dryly chuckled. What can he do? He really did have a reason for coming here. Pushing her down is just something he can do along the way. With Shoujo Misaki's intelligence, his little scheme can't be hidden from her. It's too fake to say that he's here just to see her. With that in mind, Wu Yen quickly said, "Of course I'm here just to see you." Fake. It's too fake. Shoujo Misaki doesn't doubt his words. Even Wu Yen has to say the same thing. Even if he knows that his words are fake, it can't be helped. He just pushed her down not too long ago. If he really said that he's here for something, it'd be too boring. So even if it's fake, Wu Yen can only accept it. Shoujo Misaki's eyes seemed to be able to see through Wu Yan's heart. She carefully stared at Wu Yan's face. Perhaps she guessed Wu Yan's thoughts. Shoujo Misaki coldly snorted. However, from her expression, it seems like she's satisfied with Wu Yan's words, or rather, his thoughts. Of course, Shoujo Misaki won't admit it. She's still upset about the fact that she couldn't push Wu Yan down. Don't talk nonsense. Just say it. Since you're here, you must have something you need my help with, right? This time, Wu Yan can only rub his nose and admit it. Alright, I do have something I need your help with, sure. Shoujo Misaki's straightforward answer came just as he finished his sentence. Wu Yan, who originally wanted to waste his breath, was stunned. Wu Yan didn't forget how much effort it took to get Shoujo Misaki's help when he snuck into the research facility where the sisters were kept. Not only did he have to make her a random date, but he was also ridiculed by Jusama. And this time, she agreed so easily? Could it be that pushing her down will bring me such benefits? Wu Yan quickly shook his head and denied it. If Jusama is the type of person who listens to everything after being pushed down, then she's not Jusama. Wu Yan's wine-red eyes stared straight into Shoujo Misaki's starry eyes. He narrowed his eyes, trying to see through Shoujo Misaki's schemes. I say, Jusama, when did you become so straightforward? How can you say that? Shoujo Misaki touched her cheeks and said in a pitiful tone, You've already done this to me, what else can I do other than listen to you? It would have been better if Shoujo Misaki didn't say anything. Now that she did, Wu Yan became even more vigilant. If what he said was fake, then Shoujo Misaki's expression couldn't be more fake. As if she didn't see Wu Yan's vigilance, Shoujo Misaki looked at him with a playful smile. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. He couldn't stay calm anymore. I say, where did this pitiful sobbing go to? As the saying goes, a woman can change her mind as quickly as flipping a page. Shoujo Misaki's pitiful face turned into a playful smile, and in the next second, it turned into impatience. Are you going to tell me or not? If not, I won't help you. Wu Yan, who couldn't see through Shoujo Misaki's thoughts, turned his face away and shrugged helplessly. Whatever, she's already his woman. Putting away his mischievous grin, Wu Yan put on a serious face. His expression gave off a serious vibe. I want you to help me take a look at a child. Take a look at a child. Shoujo Misaki had an odd expression on her face. Her eyes started flickering as she looked into Wu Yan's eyes. She continued with a weird tone. We just had sex and you want me to take care of a child? Wu Yan almost spat out a mouthful of saliva when he heard that. What are you thinking? I want you to take a look at a child's psychological condition. Psychological condition? This time, Shoujo Misaki didn't tease him. She frowned and said softly, The child you're talking about, does he have some psychological problems? Yeah. Wu Yan said helplessly. His mental condition is very unstable. In the past, he would go berserk from time to time. Although I've managed to suppress it, my method can only treat the symptoms, not the root cause. It can only prevent the child from going berserk, but it can't solve the problem. Wu Yan looked at Shoujo Misaki. That's why I want you to take a look at him, see if there's any way to make him normal. Go berserk. Shoujo Misaki didn't care about the method Wu Yan mentioned. Instead, she was curious about the words Wu Yan used. She was curious about what kind of situation could make this guy, the third strongest in Academy City, say something like go berserk. As for the mental and psychological problems of this so-called child, Shoujo Misaki didn't care. With her ability, it's a piece of cake. This is why Wu Yan came to Shoujo Misaki. Chapter 288. Academy City, School District 7, Wu Yan's house. The house that was originally quiet suddenly erupted with a loud roar that shook the very foundations of the house. Yuwa! Inside the living room, the owner of the roar is lying on top of a table. She's yelling while kicking her legs around. It's obvious that the owner of the voice is throwing a tantrum. The owner of the tantrum is Flandre-chan. Hinajuku, Mikoto, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, and Astria were covering their ears like they couldn't take it anymore. Ikaros was the only one who looked at Flandre-chan with a blank expression. Maybe she didn't know how to react, or maybe she just didn't know how to react. Hinagiku and Mikoto looked at each other helplessly. Even though the two girls are the ones who can make the decisions in this family other than Wu Yen, they really don't know what to do with a child throwing a tantrum. Let alone them, none of the girls here have any experience in taking care of a child. Although Hinagiku and Mikoto have taken care of little Liren before, little Liren was too obedient and didn't know how to take care of her. So Hinagiku and Mikoto are really at their wits' end. Shoujo has a headache looking at Flandre-chan, who's rolling around on the table. She walked up to her and said, "Flandre-chan, be a good girl and calm down, okay?" I don't want to. Flandre-chan doesn't seem like she's going to be obedient. She's still lying on the table, waving her arms and legs around. Shoujo and Mikoto can't get close to her. I want Onii-chan. Flandre-chan wants Onii-chan. That's right, that's why Flandre-chan is throwing a tantrum. For Flandre-chan, in this unfamiliar world, her sister isn't here. The people from Scarlet Devil Mansion aren't here either. The only person she can rely on is Wu Yen, whom she just met yesterday. Wu Yen is a very important person to her. Perhaps due to her power being sealed, Flandre-chan has become very reliant on Wu Yen. But from another perspective, it's understandable. If a child's family brought her to a strange house and then disappeared, then the child would definitely make a big fuss. Flandre-chan is in such a situation. Plus, Flandre-chan's mental state wasn't very stable to begin with. It's not hard to guess why she ended up like this. If Flandre-chan's powers weren't sealed, I'm afraid everything in this house would have been wiped out a long time ago, including people. It has to be said that once a child starts to make a fuss, the sound of her voice isn't something an average person can bear. Even if Flandre-chan lost her powers, her voice was still enough to make everyone in the house unable to bear it. Flandre-chan has been in this state ever since she woke up this morning. This caused all the young girls present to have a headache. At the same time, they couldn't help but wonder what kind of charm that guy had to make such a cute little girl rely on him so much. This is a classic case of saying the grapes are sour when you can't eat them. Looking at Flandre-chan, who's still throwing a tantrum, Shoujo, Mikoto, and the others can't help but cry. Mikoto is the one who screamed like a madwoman. "Yen, where the hell did you go? Come back right now." Perhaps it was because of Mikoto's shout, the living room suddenly lit up. Other than Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, all the other girls' eyes lit up. When the light dissipated, Wu Yan's figure appeared in the living room in front of the girls. Shoujo, Mikoto, Astria, and the others sighed in relief. As for Kinuhata Sai and the others, they're still trying to figure out how Wu Yan appeared. When Wu Yan appeared in the living room and saw the expressions on the girls' faces, he was stunned. "What's wrong with you girls? Why are you looking at me like that?" "Onii-chan." Cheers came from behind Wu Yan, startling Wu Yan. He reflexively turned around and a small figure jumped up from the table and ran into Wu Yan's arms. Wu Yan subconsciously hugged the small figure. He was stunned again. "Flandre-chan? Onii-chan, where did you go? Flandre-chan missed you so much." She kept rubbing her face against Wu Yan's body. Her small hands were clutching onto Wu Yan's clothes as if she's afraid Wu Yan will disappear again. She looked at Wu Yan with teary eyes. She looked like she's going to cry at any second. This made Wu Yan panic. Patting Flandre-chan's back, Wu Yan said gently, "Onii-chan didn't go anywhere, I just had something to do. Onii-chan is a bad guy, you abandoned Flandre-chan." Flandre-chan puffed up her cheeks in dissatisfaction. She turned her head away from Wu Yan, but her small hands were still clutching onto Wu Yan's body. Wu Yan felt helpless and amused at the same time. "You're finally back. If you didn't come back, the sky would have collapsed." Shoujo looked at the quiet Flandre-chan and sighed in relief. At the same time, she looked at Wu Yan in pleasant surprise. She seemed to have a hard time. Wu Yen, who didn't experience Flandre-chan's lion roar, was puzzled. Mikoto also looked at Wu Yen in pleasant surprise. To be honest, if Wu Yen didn't come back, Mikoto would have had the urge to send out a bolt of lightning. One can imagine how helpless she was just now. That pleasant surprise, however, froze when she heard a giggle. Era, Misaka-san, you're still so energetic." Mikoto's smile froze on her face. She felt a small electric current flowing through her forehead. This voice, this tone, could it be? Before Mikoto could finish her sentence, Kinohata Sai and Frenda beside her called out first. The fifth. Mikoto slapped her own face and covered her eyes. "So it's you, Shoujo Misaki." Shoujo Misaki covered her mouth and giggled. "What's wrong? Misaka-san, you don't look too happy to see me." "How can I be happy to see you?" Mikoto didn't mince her words. There was even a hint of hatred in her voice. It looks like she really doesn't welcome Shoujo Misaki's arrival. Mikoto pointed at Shoujo Misaki with an unfriendly look. "Woman, why are you here?" Shoujo Misaki shrugged and sighed helplessly. She then looked at Mikoto with a "don't you know" look and said, "Of course it's Yen who brought me here." Mikoto's mouth twitched. "I guessed a little, but now that I know, why do I have a—" Turning her head towards Wu Yen, sparks flashed on Mikoto's forehead as she asked in a low voice, "Where's the urge to electrocute people?" Wu Yen chuckled awkwardly. Even though he knew he'd be the one to get hurt if Sis Cannon and Jusama were to bump into each other, but for Flandre-chan on the side, Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsuburiku were stunned by this scene. Watching the interaction between Mikoto and Shoujo Misaki, as well as Shoujo Misaki's words, Kinohata Sai's eyebrows twitched. "Don't tell me this super fifth was also super recruited into the Crystal Palace by that super slut?" Frenda looked at Shoujo Misaki as if she had seen through the truth before looking at Wu Yen. She instantly understood. In the end, psychological control also became a member of that guy's Crystal Palace. Kinohata Sai clenched her fists and said hatefully, "This super pervert already has so many women, yet he still wants to super Crystal Palace. Could it be that the only thing in his head is the word female?" Hearing this, Frenda shrugged. "In the end, aren't we still the female that he has his eyes on?" Kinohata Sai remained silent, but her pair of small eyes kept darting around, as if she was thinking of something bad. Takitsuburiku kept looking at Wu Yen. There was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Will he still remember me?" Chapter 289. Seeing Shoujo Misaki looking like she's going to humiliate Mikoto, he knew that if this goes on, Sis Cannon will go berserk, so he quickly interrupted her. "Jusama, let's get down to business first. Business is more important." Shoujo Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yen, clearly displeased that Wu Yen didn't let her tease Mikoto. This made Wu Yen laugh dryly. When will he find a way to make these two happy? After all, they're both his women. Wu Yan's face was soon covered in tears. Because the answer is no. Mikoto and the rest knew that Wu Yen brought Shoujo Misaki here for a reason. Recalling what Wu Yen explained to them, Mikoto and Shoujo finally understood. At the same time, they looked at Flandre-chan in Wu Yan's arms with pity in their eyes. Mikoto humphed and turned her head away, refusing to look at Shoujo Misaki. Flandre-chan may only stick to Wu Yen, but the other girls are quite fond of her. Other than Ikaros, who doesn't have a strong emotional system, most of the girls here have a preference for Flandre-chan. Seeing Mikoto ignoring her, Shoujo Misaki also turned her head away. This made Wu Yen a little speechless. Why does it feel like Jusama isn't here to help? She's here to cause trouble. Soon, Shoujo Misaki finally noticed Flandre-chan in Wu Yan's arms. Seeing how cute Flandre-chan is, Shoujo Misaki's eyes flashed with fondness. Even Jusama isn't immune to this. It's easy to see how charming Flandre-chan is. However, when Shoujo Misaki saw Flandre-chan's wine-red eyes that are the same as Wu Yan's, she froze. Without thinking, Shoujo Misaki blurted out, "This child, don't tell me she's your and someone's daughter?" Shoujo, Mikoto, Austria, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku all stumbled and fell to the ground. Ikaros also looked at Shoujo Misaki in shock. This proves how shocking Shoujo Misaki's words are. If he wasn't carrying Flandre-chan, Wu Yen would have fallen to the ground and wouldn't be able to get up again. Wu Yen can only reply in an annoyed tone. Where the hell did you get that conclusion from? Shoujo Misaki suspiciously looked at Wu Yen before looking at Flandre-chan. She pointed at Flandre-chan's eyes and reasoned with her. Look, aren't your pupils the same? Wu Yen choked, he didn't know what to say. There are plenty of people with the same pupils in this world, but wine-red eyes are a rare sight. Since they happen to have the same pair of pupils, anyone would think they're related. However, Jusama's words are a bit shocking. Wu Yen really wanted to explain that Flandre-chan isn't his daughter, but he can't explain why they have the same pupils. Wu Yen could only come up with one sentence. If I say no, would you believe me? Hearing this, Shoujo Misaki tapped her chin with her index finger, looked around at everyone, nodded, and gave an unexpected answer. I believe you. Wu Yan's eyebrows twitched. Why would you believe me so easily? Hearing Wu Yan's words, Shoujo Misaki smiled. She looked at Wu Yan with her starry eyes and said, Because I don't believe you can give birth to such an excellent breed with your ability. As soon as Shoujo Misaki finished speaking, the girls heard a sound of something breaking. It came from Wu Yan's body, it came from his brain. Taking a deep breath, Wu Yan told himself not to get angry. Don't get angry, don't get angry, don't get angry. How can I win against Jusama when it comes to talking? Even if I'm angry, I should get back at her. Yes, that's right. With that thought in mind, Wu Yan felt relieved. A smile bloomed on his face. This made the girls who were familiar with him a little confused. Only Shoujo Misaki looked surprised. She seemed to have thought of something. She lowered her head in regret. Shoujo Misaki's heartbeat quickened. Her legs felt like jelly, as if she was reminded of something. To avoid embarrassing herself, Shoujo Misaki quickly told Wu Yan. Okay, didn't you ask me to see this child? Let's start. Wu Yan narrowed his eyes. He put this matter in his heart. He'll deal with Jusama later. Looking down at Flandre-chan in his arms, Wu Yan said, Flandre-chan, let that big sister take a look at you. Flandre-chan didn't understand. She didn't know what Wu Yan and Shoujo Misaki wanted to do to her, but since Wu Yan said so, Flandre-chan looked at Shoujo Misaki and nodded. Seeing this, Shoujo Misaki smiled and nodded her chin. She took out a remote control from her purse and pointed it at Flandre-chan. Then she pressed the button lightly. After the beep, Flandre-chan's pupils seemed to have lost their light. Her eyes that were full of life lost all color and became as still as water. She didn't move at all. Shoujo, Mikoto, and Austria held their breaths. They didn't want to disturb Shoujo Misaki. Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku didn't know what's going on, but anyone with a brain would know what to do and what not to do. Thus, they quieted down and waited. Shoujo Misaki's starry eyes also seemed to have lost their light. Even the stars in them didn't shine, but after a while, her starry eyes trembled violently. At the same time, Shoujo Misaki's face turned pale. Everyone's heart was in their throats. They were worried something might happen to Flandre-chan. Luckily, Shoujo Misaki quickly regained her composure. Everyone released a sigh of relief. Wu Yan bitterly laughed. This Jusama, is she trying to scare people to death with her sudden outburst? After a long time, under the strange silence, Shoujo Misaki finally finished her work and put away the remote control in her hand. However, her pair of starry eyes kept flashing, and her expression was extremely complicated. How is it? Is there any way? Seeing Shoujo Misaki put away the remote control, Wu Yan quickly asked. Everyone turned to look at Shoujo Misaki. Shoujo Misaki looked at Wu Yan with a complicated expression. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Wu Yan didn't understand. Perhaps she saw Wu Yan's confusion. Shoujo Misaki sighed and said, I didn't expect your origin to be so mysterious, a different world, a system, I really didn't expect it. Hearing this, Wu Yen, Shoujo, and Mikoto were shocked. Wu Yen looked at Shoujo Misaki in shock and asked, "You know everything?" After asking this question, Wu Yen suddenly remembered that Shoujo Misaki, with her mind control ability, can peek into other people's memories. In other words, Shoujo Misaki peeked into Flandre-chan's memories and obtained the system's memories from Flandre-chan's memories. In other words, Jusama really knows everything. Shoujo Misaki looked at the dumbfounded Wu Yen, the resentment in her starry eyes intensified. "No wonder you said Misaka Mikoto has a bigger world waiting for her. Indeed, compared to you guys who can travel through worlds, a small Tokuwadai is nothing to you guys." Wu Yen laughed awkwardly. He knew that Shoujo Misaki was complaining about how he protected Mikoto during their first meeting, however, while Shoujo Misaki understood, the others didn't. Kwei, what are you guys talking about?" Kinohata Sai shouted. "What different world? What super system? What super time travel? Explain it all to me." Wu Yen, Hinajuku, and Mikoto looked at each other, helplessness in their eyes. Great, now they're exposed, what a blunder. Chapter 290. He has to admit, asking Shoujo Misaki to check on Flandre-chan's mental state was a mistake, but it also solved one of Wu Yan's problems, of course. Wu Yen didn't expect Shoujo Misaki to peek into Flandre-chan's memories. The system's transfer of memories to Flandre-chan was more than enough for Shoujo Misaki to learn about their secret. Coincidentally, Wu Yan's problem was solved by Shoujo Misaki, Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. Wu Yan's mission 3 was to push down at least 3 characters and make them follow him out of this world. Wu Yen already had a target in mind. He successfully pushed 2 of them onto his bed and rolled around in the sheets with him. However, he didn't know how to explain his situation to them. He didn't know where to start at this moment. Now, Jusama's peek into her memories gave Wu Yen a chance to explain himself to everyone. In a way, Wu Yan's problem has been solved. In the huge living room, Shoujo Misaki, Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku were listening to Wu Yan's story. Other than Shoujo Misaki, who exclaimed from time to time, the other 3 were stunned. Shoujo Misaki obtained a lot of information from peeking into Flandre-chan's memories. Now, with Wu Yan's explanation, she didn't have much of a reaction. However, this is the first time Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku have heard of something so absurd. That's right, to the 3 of them, this matter is indeed absurd. What system? What transmigration? What spalier world? What instance dungeon? Every single one of them made their little brains swell up, they almost short-circuited. It can be said that Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku didn't want to believe Wu Yan's words at all. After all, this is the science world. Everything has to be based on science. Is everything Wu Yan said scientific? However, when Ikaros and Astrea revealed their wings, Flandre-chan revealed her tail and crystal wings, the 3 girls were stunned. Even Shoujo Misaki, who saw this for the first time, couldn't help but cover her mouth with her hand. She was shocked beyond words. In other words, everything you said is super real? Kinohata Sai stared blankly at Shoujo and Mikoto. If it was Wu Yan's words, no matter how convincing, Kinohata Sai wouldn't choose to believe it. It's obvious how much Kinohata Sai's hatred towards Wu Yan 2's level. But since it came from Hinajuku and Mikoto, she had no choice but to believe it. She knows that Wu Yan might be bullshitting, but Hinajuku and Mikoto, with their temperaments, they wouldn't be so immoral when it comes to matters like this. That's why when the 2 nodded, Kinohata Sai grabbed her head and shook it. She had a "I've already fainted, the world has already been destroyed" look on her face. She couldn't accept it. However, from another perspective, Wu Yan's words did indeed destroy their world. To be more precise, it should be their worldview, that means. Kinohata Sai turned to look at Wu Yan with excitement in her eyes. "You'll leave this world one day, won't you?" Wu Yan nodded. Kinohata Sai almost jumped up in joy when she saw Wu Yen nodding. She wanted to cry in her heart. Finally, I can escape from this devil's clutches. Wu Yen knew what Kinohata Sai was thinking when he saw the excitement in her eyes. Wu Yen smiled and said, "We will leave this world, but when the time comes, we will bring you with us. So, don't worry about us abandoning you." What? This time, Kinohata Sai really jumped up. However, she wasn't happy. She pointed at Wu Yen and complained loudly. "You super pervert! You won't super let us go even if we super leave this world? Ma, calm down, girl." Wu Yen patted Kinohata Sai's shoulder and smiled. "We have such a good relationship, how can I abandon you? So don't worry, I don't want to give up on such a cute maid." "You're the maid. Your whole family is super maids." Frenda sighed and said dejectedly. "I already knew the result. How can this wolf let us go so easily?" As for Takitsubu Riku, after accepting Wu Yan's words, she didn't care anymore. She was once a member of the Black Ops in Academy City. She had seen too much of the dark side of Academy City. She didn't have much of a sense of belonging to Academy City, so she didn't care about leaving. Instead, it was Shoujo Misaki who showed great interest in this matter. She placed the back of her hand on her mouth and smiled. "Spalier world, interesting. I'd like to see that so-called other world." Wu Yen couldn't help but ask. "Jusama, you're not thinking of coming with us, are you?" "Can't I?" Shoujo Misaki looked at Wu Yen and said with a sad voice. "Don't tell me, Xiao Yen, you're planning to go back on your word after pushing me down?" Hearing Shoujo Misaki's words, Wu Yen cursed. Sure enough, almost at the same time, Chuju, Mikoto, Kinohata Sai, and Frenda all screamed in shock. "Push her down." Among them, Mikoto's reaction was the most intense. She couldn't help it. If it was someone else, it would be fine. If it was someone else, it would be fine. But this is Shoujo Misaki. The Shoujo Misaki he hated the most. Beep. A flash of lightning came from Mikoto's body. Wu Yan's body trembled and he almost ran away. When Wu Yan slowly turned to Mikoto's direction, Mikoto's body was already filled with blue and white electricity. Lowering her head, Mikoto raised a fist and said in a low voice, "Yen, don't you have anything to explain?" Wu Yen smiled bitterly and waved his hands as if to tell Mikoto to calm down. But his action, which was equivalent to admitting it, made Mikoto go berserk. Hearing the lightning getting more intense, Wu Yen glared at Shoujo Misaki who was gloating over his misfortune. Looking at Mikoto who was about to turn into a goddess, he steeled his heart. With a leap, Wu Yen jumped in front of Mikoto. With one hand still holding Flandre-chan, he used his other hand to pull Mikoto into his embrace. Mikoto shrieked and the electric current in her body disappeared. She fell into Wu Yan's arms and before she could react, a big mouth covered her little mouth causing her to widen her eyes. "Oh!" Kinohata Sai, Frenda, and Estrella gasped in shock. Hinajiku, on the other hand, had already covered one of her eyes. She couldn't bear to look at it anymore. The world is getting worse. That, "oh" didn't just mean the girls were shocked, it also woke Mikoto up. Looking at Wu Yan's face so close to hers, Mikoto's face started to heat up. Starting from her neck, a bright red color started to crawl up her face until it covered her entire face. Following a bang sound, Mikoto's head boiled with water. The steam rose slowly, showing how embarrassed its master was right now. She pushed Wu Yen away and pointed at Wu Yen. "You? What are you doing? There are so many people here, you." Looking at Mikoto's red face, Wu Yen chuckled. This is the effect he wanted. Wu Yen even wiped his lips with a wicked smile. His scum temperament was on full display. Mikoto's face turned even redder. She felt everyone's gazes were so piercing. She covered her head and ran back to her room. Chuju gave Wu Yen a reproachful look before she chased after Mikoto. Estrella followed suit. Ikaros gave Wu Yen a hesitant look before following as well. Wu Yen let out a sigh of relief. At least his life is saved. Chapter 291. With the departure of Mikoto, Shoujo, Astrea, and Ikaros, the place became a lot emptier. The only ones left were those who had something to do with leaving this world. Perhaps that's why Ikaros was hesitant when she left. It's obvious she wants to stay by Wu Yan's side, but she also knows that Wu Yan should take care of Shokuho Misaki, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. That's why Ikaros decided to leave. Wu Yan, who guessed her thoughts, couldn't help but smile dotingly. As expected, Ikaros is the one who deserves the most love, Shokuho Misaki suddenly said. She's quite understanding, that girl called Ikaros. To Shokuho Misaki's surprise, Wu Yan shook his head and he chuckled. No, I think it's a bit of a misnomer to use on Ikaros. Looking at the direction Ikaros left, Wu Yan said with a doting smile. Ikaros is a bit slow when it comes to emotions. There are a lot of things she can't understand. That's why Ikaros is trying her best to change herself. What she doesn't know is that I like her the most. She doesn't need to change at all. Shokuho Misaki nodded as if she understood something. She turned to Wu Yan and giggled. So, you're not worried that I will get jealous of you, huh? Wu Yan glanced at Shokuho Misaki and he smirked. Then why don't you try one for me? Shokuho Misaki humphed and turned her head away. What are you doing? Can't I be jealous? I'm still a girl. Yes. Shokuho Misaki was even more annoyed by Wu Yan's perfunctory reply. Before she could complain, Wu Yan said, "Oh right, how's Flandre-chan?" Shokuho Misaki narrowed her eyes. She looked at Flandre-chan, who was sleeping in Wu Yan's arms because of her ability. Don't worry about her, she's fine. Her mental state is a bit unstable, but she'll be fine soon. She'll be a normal little girl again. Wu Yan was stunned for a moment before he was overjoyed. He tightened his grip on Flandre-chan and said, "Thank you, Kona-sama." Shokuho Misaki didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Don't misunderstand, I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything? Wu Yan looked at Shokuho Misaki in surprise. After making sure she wasn't joking, he frowned and he looked at Flandre-chan in his arms. If you didn't do anything, how did Flandre-chan's mental state recover so quickly? Shokuho Misaki glanced at Flandre-chan and stroked her blonde hair. Originally, this little girl by the name of Fran became mentally abnormal because she possessed a terrifyingly powerful strength that overrode her young heart. And now, you've already sealed her power. Without that terrifying power as a burden, she's like a spring that has lost its weight. Her mind will naturally grow stronger in the following time, until it returns to normal. Wu Yan laughed heartily. Then, he noticed that Flandre-chan is still sleeping, so he stopped himself from laughing out loud. Instead, he chuckled. That's great. Shokuho Misaki stared blankly at Flandre-chan's sweet, sleeping posture and sighed. I can't believe this little girl has such power inside her body. I'm afraid even all the LV5s in Academy City combined wouldn't last more than a minute. That ability that can destroy everything in its path is truly terrifying. You know about that too? Shokuho Misaki rolled her eyes and regained her confidence. Of course, Flandre-chan's power is strong, but it's been sealed. Plus, her mental state is unstable, so it's easy to invade her mind. Basically, I know everything she knows. You know about Gensokyo as well? Shokuho Misaki nodded. Wu Yan hesitated for a bit before asking. Then, what Flandre-chan did in Gensokyo, you know about it as well? Shokuho Misaki looked at Wu Yan and laughed. You didn't think Flandre-chan's identity as a vampire and how she tore people apart would scare me, did you? Wu Yan smiled sheepishly. So you knew about it? Shokuho Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yan and sighed. Those so-called scholars in Academy City, what they did to the aptitude users or test subjects is even worse than what Flandre-chan did to them. I've been watching them since I was a child because of my mind control ability. Wu Yan went silent. Indeed, the darkness in Academy City is too thick. Shoujo Misaki, with her mind control ability, is probably the one who's experienced the darkness the most in Academy City, whether it's her own experience or someone else's memories. Seeing Wu Yan's expression, Shoujo Misaki laughed and said, "Era, are you feeling sorry for me, little Yen?" Shoujo Misaki's teasing tone caused Wu Yan's repressed expression to crumble. The heaviness in his heart also dissipated. He rolled his eyes at Shoujo Misaki before replying in an annoyed tone. I was, but not now." Shoujo Misaki immediately leaned on Wu Yan and wrapped her arms around Wu Yan's neck. "Don't be like that, I like to see you feeling sorry for me." Wu Yan's eyebrows twitched and the corner of his mouth twitched. "You like it when I feel sorry for you?" Shoujo Misaki giggled and suddenly asked Wu Yan out of curiosity. "Little Yen, when are we leaving this place and going to that spalier world? I'm really curious about that place." Wu Yan shook his head helplessly. "Jusama, what's there to be curious about another world?" "Of course I'm curious," Shoujo Misaki said with a bit of dissatisfaction. "You said Misaka Mikoto would use that place as a stage, don't you think she can do it?" Wu Yan clutched his head and laughed. "So it's because of Mikoto, so when is it?" "Well, if you're in such a hurry, then we'll have to see if a certain someone is willing to cooperate." Wu Yan's wine-red eyes shot out like an arrow and landed on a lowly girl who was trying to tiptoe out of the room. She froze in her tracks just as she was about to take a step forward. "She's Kinohata Sai." For some reason, after Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Astria left, Kinohata Sai's body trembled. She had a bad feeling about this, and the alarm in her head went off. Girls tend to have an inexplicable trust towards their own sixth sense. Thus, Kinohata Sai decisively followed her heart's guidance and started to sneak out, but in the end, Kinohata Sai didn't manage to escape. At the same time, Kinohata Sai's alarm went off like crazy. Without hesitation, Kinohata Sai sprinted out of the room. But soon, she felt that her running feet were already in the air. Kinohata Sai fell into despair. She struggled with all her might and shouted, "Super, let go of me, you super pervert!" Wu Yan grinned when he heard that. "Kinohata girl, you won't be able to escape today." Ignoring Kinohata Sai's struggle, Wu Yan grabbed Kinohata Sai by the back of her collar and walked into the room. Seeing this, Frenda patted her chest in relief. But then she remembered that she was pushed down a long time ago. Takitsuburiku stared blankly at Kinohata Sai being dragged into the room. She realized what was going to happen next and her face turned red. Chapter 292. Shoujo Misaki, Frenda, and Takitsuburiku stared blankly at Kinohata Sai being dragged into the room by Wu Yan. It wasn't until the sound of the door slamming shut that the three girls in the living room finally reacted. With Shoujo Misaki, Frenda, and Takitsuburiku's brains, plus the way things have developed, they can easily guess what Wu Yan is planning to do with Kinohata Sai. Speaking of which, if you bring a girl into your room, even if you say there's nothing going on, no one will believe you. Shoujo Misaki gritted her teeth and snorted coldly as if venting her anger, but she didn't say anything. Seeing Wu Yan bringing a girl into his room right in front of her made her feel a little uncomfortable. But based on what Wu Yan said before, Shoujo Misaki can guess that leaving this world has something to do with what Wu Yan is planning to do. Shoujo Misaki couldn't help but think to herself, could it be that in order to leave this world, one must use the method of pushing someone down? That means a pair of starry eyes turned to Frenda and Takitsuburiku. Shoujo Misaki's pupils turned as if she had thought of something. Suddenly, a hint of slyness flashed across her eyes. Even the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile. Frenda and Takitsuburiku, who have been watching Wu Yan and Kinohata Sai enter the room, suddenly felt a chill run down their spine. It's as if a cheetah has its eyes on them. Their faces twitched and they started looking around for the source of the chill. At the same time, the source of the chill, Shoujo Misaki secretly smiled. She glanced at Frenda and Takitsuburiku, then at Mikoto's room. She quietly took out a remote control and pointed it at Frenda and Takitsubo Riku on the other side, Wu Yan's room. Don't come over here. Let me tell you, I'm super awesome. Kinuhata Sai slowly shrunk deeper into the bed, and as Wu Yan got closer, she also shrunk deeper into the bed. Kinuhata Sai's little heart was beating rapidly, and her face was filled with panic. She could only helplessly put on an "I'm very fierce" expression, staring at Wu Yan while saying some weak words. When Wu Yan heard Kinuhata Sai's words, he couldn't help but laugh. Even his footsteps stopped. Looking at Kinuhata Sai, who was shrinking into the bed, Wu Yan shook his head, crossed his arms, and looked at Kinuhata Sai with a smile. Kinuhata Sai also stopped and looked at Wu Yan suspiciously. According to her understanding of Wu Yan shouldn't be someone who would let go of such a threat. Could it be that this fellow had suddenly found his conscience? When such a thought appeared in Kinuhata Sai's mind, Wu Yan laughed loudly, and pounced on Kinuhata Sai like a wolf hunting for its prey. Kinuhata Sai was shocked, she screamed and retreated, but it was already too late. Wu Yan accurately pounced on Kinuhata Sai's delicate body, and pushed her onto the bed. A thick manly scent assaulted Kinuhata Sai's face, and her body also gained a weight that was much heavier than her, but unexpectedly, she was able to withstand the weight with her small body, causing Kinuhata Sai to be stunned. Super, let go of me! Kinuhata Sai screamed in panic, but unfortunately, just as she started screaming, her hands were grabbed by the person on top of her, and with a twist, her hands were above her. Help! Super, help! Frenda! Takitsubo! Super, come and save me! Sensing that she was being restrained, the panic in Kinuhata Sai's heart became even more intense. In her panic, Kinuhata Sai could only use her womanly instincts to scream for help. If it was any other time, this might work, since Shoujo, Mikoto, and the others wouldn't not appear when they heard someone screaming for help from their room. But at this moment, Mikoto was hiding in her room, and Shoujo, Astria, and the others were also hiding in Mikoto's room. For the time being, they wouldn't be able to hear Kinuhata Sai's cries for help. If Kinuhata Sai continued to scream, she would eventually be rescued, but would Wu Yan allow her to continue screaming? Licking his lips, Wu Yan laughed out loud. He bent down and his lips met with Kinuhata Sai's little mouth. The rest of her words were blocked back in her throat. Kinuhata Sai's eyes widened, she was crying in her heart. This is the second time I was forcefully kissed by this despicable wolf on top of me. It's a pity that the heavens gave me such a cute appearance and body, but today, it's going to be taken away by this wolf. While Kinuhata Sai's mind was in a mess, Wu Yan's tongue had already broken through Kinuhata Sai's tightly clenched teeth. With an unstoppable force, he captured Kinuhata Sai's little tongue. Thus, the two tongues that have seen each other before started tangling with each other. The pleasure of their tongues intertwining quickly entered Kinuhata Sai's mind. Although Kinuhata Sai was young, her heart that had experienced countless B-grade movies started to tremble. Her eyes started to water up. Kinuhata Sai almost lost herself in the pleasure of that passionate kiss. Realizing that her body was starting to heat up, Kinuhata Sai hardened her heart and decided to bite down on Wu Yan's tongue that was moving freely in her mouth. However, at the next moment, Kinuhata Sai's teeth that were about to bite down suddenly lost all strength due to Kinuhata Sai's expression. The reason is that unbeknownst to her, Wu Yan's big hand had already passed through Kinuhata Sai's clothes and started to pinch her soft and small breasts. Wu Yan's hand that was supposed to be holding both of Kinuhata Sai's hands was now left with only one. With one hand holding both of Kinuhata Sai's hands tightly together, the other hand can naturally do whatever he wants. Woo, feeling her breasts being pinched rhythmically by a hand, Kinuhata Sai's pupils dilated again, her eyes started to water up again, her face started to blush, her mouth started to make the same rhythmic moans as the hand that's pinching her breasts. It's very cute and moving. Even Wu Yan, who has already tasted the taste of a lowly girl, couldn't help but feel a ripple in his heart. Frenda as a lowly has a sweet appearance and a cute personality. She exudes the taste of cuteness everywhere. Wu Yan really enjoyed it. As for Kinuhata Sai, compared to Frenda, who knows how to act cute, this lowly has a different taste when tasting her. This made Wu Yan's evil heart start to beat with eagerness. Especially Kinuhata Sai, she also has a pair of beautiful legs in the morning. He pushed down the queen, blonde, and huge breasts Shokuha Masaki. Now he's going to push down another lowly. Even Wu Yan felt that he's being evil. Of course, it's only for a while. As for his evil actions today, Wu Yan didn't feel that there's anything wrong with it. In fact, he felt that today is his lucky day. Pa, Wu Yan loves to play. Thus, Wu Yan, who's gradually getting dissatisfied, immediately let go of Kinuhata Sai's little bunny that he's holding. Kinuhata Sai couldn't help but sigh in relief. But this sigh of relief didn't last long before it's lifted up again. Letting go doesn't mean letting go. If one isn't enough, then let's go with two. What a simple thought. And it's this simple thought that made Wu Yan's hand start to fondle and knead Kinuhata Sai's little bunnies back and forth, kneading them into various shapes. Kinuhata Sai's bones have completely melted, even if she doesn't want to admit it. Kinuhata Sai has to admit that Wu Yan's technique is too skillful. At this moment, she's starting to feel something. Her body started to heat up. Kinuhata Sai's eyes started to blur. The strength of her struggle started to weaken. All the strength in her body has been gathered into her mouth, used to moan. At this moment, Wu Yan's hand has already pulled out from Kinuhata Sai's clothes and started to target her clothes. Chapter 293. Under Kinuhata Sai's weak resistance and unyielding whimpers of protest, Kinuhata Sai's unchanging hoodie and shorts were taken away from her petite body not too long after. The clothes were casually thrown under the bed by Wu Yan. At this moment, Kinuhata Sai has turned into a naked little lamb in front of Wu Yan. That petite body of a lowly did not diminish the lust in Wu Yan's heart. After all, even if it's a lowly, Kinuhata Sai's body has an unusual charm. Smooth and beautiful thighs, smooth and supple skin, as well as a delicate fragrance that assails the nostrils, all of these are seductive luster from this petite body. Feeling the chill on her body, Kinuhata Sai understood her current situation. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to die. This is also the second time Kinuhata Sai exposed her body in front of a man. Kinuhata Sai wanted to raise her hands to block in front of her chest, to block Wu Yan's invasive gaze. However, before she could do anything, Wu Yan seemed to have seen through her intentions. With a puss sound, he grabbed her hands and pressed them on both sides of Kinuhata Sai's head. Wu, you despicable bastard. Even though she knows that no matter what she says, the big bad wolf on top of her will not let her go, Kinuhata Sai still couldn't help but cry out. Wu Yan admired Kinuhata Sai's petite body that he hasn't seen for a long time. Then, he looked at Kinuhata Sai's eyes and laughed. Kinuhata girl, are you still thinking of resisting? It's useless, it's better to give up. How about this, I'll be gentler from now on. Hearing this, Kinuhata Sai stubbornly stared at Wu Yan and shouted. How can I not resist? I'm being pushed by a super strong force. If I don't resist, doesn't that mean I'm being pushed by a super strong force? Wu Yan's expression turned awkward. You know that you're being pushed by a super strong force, yet you still have the time to explain? Kinuhata Sai was stunned for a moment before nodding her head in realization. Oh right. I'm being pushed by a super strong force right now, I don't have time to explain. After saying that, Kinuhata Sai looked at Wu Yan suspiciously. You're still talking about me? Aren't you also doing the same thing? You even have the time to chat with the girl you're trying to force yourself on? Wu Yan was also stunned. After an oh, he said, Oh, that's right. I'm in the middle of a forceful push, but I still have the mood to chat. Following the conversation between the two, the scene fell into a strange silence. Only the two of them were left staring at each other. Their expressions were very interesting. To be able to have such a conversation in the middle of a forceful push, it was really amazing. After a long time, Wu Yen suddenly said to Kinuhata Sai, "I say, are you trying to use unreliable dialogue to get away with this?" Kinuhata Sai's expression froze, her eyes started to turn resentful. Her reaction was no doubt telling Wu Yen that she was trying to get away with it. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. He suddenly reached out and pressed Kinuhata Sai's small breasts. He started to pinch them with all his might, causing Kinuhata Sai's expression to change, and she started to moan. "Ah, let go of me!" This time, Wu Yen ignored Kinuhata Sai's cries and started to focus on Kinuhata Sai's small body. He even stuck out his tongue and started to tease Kinuhata Sai's small body. Kinuhata Sai has never experienced such a situation before. She couldn't help but tighten her body and bite her lip. She felt that as Wu Yan's tongue continued to lick her body started to feel strange. A strange yet familiar feeling started to emerge from the depths of Kinuhata Sai's body. The reason why it's strange yet familiar is because Kinuhata Sai has only felt this once before. This feeling, it's the same feeling she felt after being defeated by Wu Yen and being trained by him. Under the control of this strange yet familiar feeling, Kinuhata Sai reacted without hesitation. His hand lightly brushed across Kinuhata Sai's smooth thighs. Feeling that it's about time, Wu Yen smiled excitedly. He waved his hand and in the next second, his tightly wrapped clothes flew away. From the speed, it's clear that Wu Yan's undressing skills have reached an unimaginable level. When the great spear appeared in front of Kinuhata Sai started to panic. In her panic, Kinuhata Sai couldn't help but scream. Using an unknown strength, she pushed Wu Yen away and turned around to crawl to the other side. After crawling a few steps, Kinuhata Sai felt that she couldn't crawl anymore, because her small waist was grabbed by Wu Yan's two large hands. At the same time, Kinuhata Sai also felt a hard sensation pressing against her small buttocks. Knowing that she can't escape anymore, Kinuhata Sai couldn't help but let out a final whimper. Her heart is crying. "Goodbye, my lovely youth." Following Kinuhata Sai's whimper, Wu Yen also shrugged his waist, allowing Kinuhata Sai to let out another whimper. But this time, it should be a scream of pain. Why is it so painful? Kinuhata Sai's pair of small eyebrows are deeply furrowed, her mouth is letting out a painful moan. Her body is also tensed up, she doesn't dare to move anymore. From this, it can be seen how much pain Kinuhata Sai is in, trying her best to hold back the tears that are about to reach her eyes. Kinuhata Sai bit her lips to prevent herself from crying. Kinuhata Sai's stubborn personality doesn't allow herself to cry because of pain. The pain came so quickly, but it didn't go so quickly. After all, Kinuhata Sai is only a 12-year-old girl. Feeling the pain in her body, Kinuhata Sai kept trying to hypnotize herself. "I don't feel pain. I don't feel pain. I don't feel pain." Hearing Kinuhata Sai's soft and painful moans, Wu Yen couldn't help but laugh and shake his head. He didn't want to feel how good it is right now. He leaned on Kinuhata Sai's back and whispered into her ear. "If it's painful, it's better to cry out, it'll heal faster that way." Hearing that, Kinuhata Sai's murmuring mouth paused, she glared fiercely at Wu Yen and started sobbing. "You despicable super pervert, you ked me and now you're saying such sarcastic words." Wu Yen grinned sheepishly and shut his mouth. Indeed, saying something like that at a time like this feels a bit like making sarcastic remarks. However, after being teased by Wu Yen, Kinuhata Sai felt the pain in her body lessen by quite a bit. Her tightly furrowed eyebrows also loosened up. However, in the next moment, a sudden sense of emptiness made her face stiffen again. The fatal sense of emptiness made Kinuhata Sai start to wish for Wu Yen to do something. She wanted to open her mouth, but she suddenly remembered that she was the one who was forced to do it. How can she open her mouth? Thus, Kinuhata Sai started to feel conflicted, If Wu Yen knew what Kinuhata Sai was thinking, Wu Yen would definitely feel conflicted too. What kind of situation is this? You still have the time to think about such things. Could it be that your hidden nature is off the line? However, even though Wu Yen didn't know what Kinuhata Sai was thinking, he himself couldn't hold it in any longer. Not to mention the problem of whether others can hold it in or not, he directly pounded the conflicted Kinuhata Sai into a daze. A long moan came from Kinuhata Sai, who was still conflicted a second ago. Kinuhata Sai was overjoyed because that fatal sense of emptiness has been alleviated by Wu Yan's actions. And this long groan is also the signal to start the battle. After the long groan, the sound of flesh colliding, accompanied by loud and small groans, began to resound. Chapter 294. Hugging Kinuhata Sai's soft body, listening to Kinuhata Sai's soft moans, smelling Kinuhata Sai's sweaty scent, enjoying every part of Kinuhata Sai's body, Wu Yen moved his body and closed his eyes in satisfaction. In the entire space, Wu Yan's two favorite sounds echoed. One is the most pleasant moans from the girl's mouth, the other is the slapping sounds from the thrusting of the body. No matter how long he listens to it, Wu Yen feels that he can't get enough of it. Wu Yen is feeling one thing, Kinuhata Sai is feeling another. She heard her own sounds. Wu Yen felt pleasure, but she felt embarrassed. She also heard the sounds of the thrusting of the body. When Wu Yen felt pleasure, she also felt pleasure, but she was also gritting her teeth. Kinuhata Sai isn't as shameless as Wu Yen. As a girl, even if Kinuhata Sai is a bit tough, she would still feel embarrassed. Kinuhata Sai couldn't believe that such sounds would come out of her mouth. Kinuhata Sai kept trying to stop her sounds, but with Wu Yan's thrusting, the electric current that came from the deepest part of her body made her unable to control her mouth. In the end, she couldn't stop moaning. Kinuhata Sai almost lost her soul when she experienced the feeling of love for the first time. Her rationality has already left her brain. At this moment, Kinuhata Sai feels that she is no longer herself. However, Kinuhata Sai didn't deny it. At this moment, she is indeed the most comfortable. However, Kinuhata Sai also didn't try to hide her embarrassment. Her face is red. Half of it is because of the pleasure, the other half is because of the shame. Kinuhata Sai has never hated her helplessness like today. Being abducted, Kinuhata Sai can accept it. Being pushed, Kinuhata Sai can accept it. But this embarrassing position, Kinuhata Sai can't accept it no matter what. Lying on the bed, Kinuhata Sai's hands subconsciously grabbed onto the blanket. Looking at the blanket in front of her and feeling the impact on her back, Kinuhata Sai's heart was once again filled with tears. Can we make a deal? Let's change positions. This sentence, Kinuhata Sai wanted to say it countless times, but every time it reached her throat, it would be squeezed away by a moan. In the end, Kinuhata Sai maintained this embarrassing position for almost half an hour. She was also embarrassed for almost half an hour. Even though Kinuhata Sai no longer had any sense of rationality in her mind, she still retained her sense of shame. Thus, under the influence of this shame, Kinuhata Sai quickly exploded. After letting out a long cry, Kinuhata Sai's nerves also snapped. Her skin flushed crimson red. Kinuhata Sai lost the last bit of strength she had to support herself and collapsed on the ground, unable to get up anymore. Wu Yen furrowed his brows and sighed helplessly. His expression is one of exasperation for not living up to his expectations. Grumbling in his heart, Wu Yen followed Kinuhata Sai's collapsed body and laid on top of her, using his body to tell Kinuhata Sai he is still not satisfied. In Kinuhata Sai's eyes, the little bit of consciousness that had just returned to her, upon sensing Wu Yan's actions, a trace of panic flashed across her eyes. Before she could say anything, Wu Yen once again entered her body and made her sing. At this moment, in this space, other than the sound of Kinuhata Sai's moans and the sound of the bed colliding against each other, there was finally another sound, and that was the sound of the bed being unable to bear the weight. This sound undoubtedly added to the fun. causing Wu Yan's movements to become even more violent. This also caused Kinuhata Sai to feel hatred. This bed is too weak. Very soon, Kinuhata Sai was also unable to bear the weight like the bed. She let out a long whimper, her body tensed up again. Kinuhata Sai welcomed her second climax of the day, however. Just like before she could catch her breath, Kinuhata Sai was once again manipulated by Wu Yan. Kinuhata Sai was completely flustered. Her pair of eyes were filled with endless tears. She looked at Wu Yan charmingly and moaned, You're still going. As for the question of, are you going to come or not? Wu Yan answered her straightforwardly, following the movement of his body, help, help, help. For the nth time, Kinuhata Sai's heart was filled with tears. In the past, she was still full of confidence in her endurance. After all, in order to complement her nitrogen armor ability, Kinuhata Sai trained her body quite a bit. But this time, under the actions of the beast behind her, Kinuhata Sai felt that her previous confidence was nothing in front of this guy. Indeed, no matter how much Kinuhata Sai trained, in terms of physical strength, compared to the true ancestor, she is nothing but trash. Thus, in the midst of Kinuhata Sai's soft moans and begging for mercy, a new battle started once again. Kinuhata Sai could only close her eyes and silently pray, My body is no longer youthful, I hope you can persevere. Suddenly, in this space where there were only 3 sounds, another sound rang out. However, it was different from the previous 3 sounds. This sound was very short, but it attracted the attention of Lei Feng and Lei Feng. Because that's the sound of the room door being opened. Subconsciously stopping their movements, Wu Yan and the panting Kinuhata Sai reflexively looked towards the door. With one look, both of them were stunned. Frenda! Takitsubu! Kinuhata Sai's exclamation revealed the reason why the door was opened. However, this reason caused the two of them, who were still in the most intimate position, to be stunned. Frenda and Takitsubu stood at the door and stared at the two of them. Their expressions didn't change at all, as if the other party wasn't doing something shameful but was playing a game of chess. The two of them who were in a daze didn't notice that Frenda and Takitsubu's eyes have lost their luster. Kinuhata Sai was the first to react. Looking at her two best friends standing at the door, Kinuhata Sai's face instantly turned red. The shame in her heart suddenly exploded. Yua! Letting out a loud cry, Kinuhata Sai covered her face with both hands. Her body started to twist and turn, trying to escape from Wu Yan's control. Her embarrassed and angry voice came out from the gaps between her fingers. You! Frenda, Takitsubu, don't look! Super don't look! Kinuhata Sai's voice didn't manage to get Frenda and Takitsubu to leave. Instead, it woke Wu Yan up. Wu Yan, who came back to his senses, stared blankly at Frenda and Takitsubu, who were standing at the door. Feeling his own desire on Kinuhata Sai's body, Wu Yan's heart actually burst with excitement. And so Wu Yan, his body became erect. All of Kinuhata Sai's shame turned into moans. Kinuhata Sai couldn't believe that her body started to move again. She almost cried. Sure enough, this guy is a super ********. Unable to stop moaning, Kinuhata Sai couldn't bear to imagine herself at this moment. She only knows that she's done for. She won't dare to show her face to anyone anymore. However, Kinuhata Sai didn't expect that in the end, the one who doesn't dare to show her face isn't her, but Frenda and Takitsubu, who barged into this loving little red room. The familiar sound of the door closing rang again. Wu Yan's movements stopped once more. Kinuhata Sai, who didn't know what happened, also opened her fingers and looked over. In the end, the scene that entered their eyes made the man and woman stunned again. Frenda and Takitsubu didn't leave. Instead, they closed the door and entered the room. That's not all. The two women stared blankly at Wu Yan and Kinuhata Sai. Then, in front of Wu Yan and Kinuhata Sai's gaze, they started to take off their clothes. Kinuhata Sai was stunned, so was Wu Yan. At the same time, he was also stunned. Could it be that today is the day to break the record? Flying 3? Chapter 295. As a petite figure that is smaller than Kinuhata Sai and a voluptuous figure appeared in front of Wu Yen and Kinuhata Sai's eyes, they finally realized, this time, it's too late. This isn't the first time Wu Yen has seen these three figures in their nude state. Not only that, he's seen them in this state almost every day. Those three photos of Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku are still in his space ring. He takes them out to admire them twice a day, however. This is the second time he is seeing them in real life. This time, it's much more exciting than the previous time. After all, the previous time, he was just taking advantage of her, but this time Kinuhata Sai is still underneath him. Kinuhata Sai felt that all the surprises in her life had been used up today. Her worldview had been completely destroyed in just one day. Looking at her two best friends walking towards her after taking off all their clothes, Kinuhata Sai's mind was in a complete mess. Wait. Super wait for me. Kinuhata Sai squeezed out all the energy she had stored up for tomorrow. Like a dying flash of light, she bounced up from her bed, giving Wu Yen a fright. However, Kinuhata Sai didn't have the heart to care about Wu Yen. Seeing that Frenda and Takitsubu Riku were not listening to her and were slowly walking towards them, Kinuhata Sai was on the verge of breaking down. She screamed hysterically, "What are you guys super doing? Do you guys super know what you are doing? You guys are super crazy." Kinuhata Sai is only one step away from adding a nitrogen armor to her fist and giving herself a punch. Seeing Frenda and Takitsubu Riku stripping naked and walking towards the two who are having pa-pa-pa, anyone would think that they are going to participate in this. Even if logic tells Kinuhata Sai that with her two best friends, such a thing is impossible, absolutely impossible. But looking at the current situation, she has no choice but to believe it. Super wait for me, did you guys not hear me? As the two girls continued to approach as if they didn't hear anything, Kinuhata Sai finally broke down. With her two small fists covered in nitrogen armor, Kinuhata Sai's exhausted body actually jumped up from the bed as though she was possessed by King Kong Hercules. Kinuhata Sai only wanted to use her ability to destroy everything in front of her, to relieve her current bad mood. However, before she could jump halfway, she was directly carried into the arms of a certain evil wolf who was scheming. As her body was pulled into his embrace, Kinuhata Sai subconsciously punched him. However, in the next second, her fist trembled as all her strength was sucked out. And Kinuhata Sai's eyes widened as she felt that familiar hard object once again break through her barrier and enter her body. Kinuhata Sai cried, "Wu, what time is it now?" "You're still." Kinuhata Sai didn't get to finish her sentence because her petite body was being tossed around by Wu Yen at a speed never seen in her entire life. Kinuhata Sai was on the verge of swallowing the last bit of life she had left. Doing pa-pa-pa with someone else in front of her best friend was so exciting. Kinuhata Sai had never thought that she would be treated like this one day. On the other hand, Wu Yen was completely immersed in his excitement. If it was the usual Wu Yen, he might be able to see something from Frenda and Takitsubu Riku's actions. But right now Wu Yen is in the middle of his lovemaking. Thus, Wu Yan's IQ dropped without limit. Tossing her petite body, Wu Yen looked at Frenda and Takitsubu Riku who were already in front of him. He reached out an arm, hugged Frenda's petite body and pulled her down. "No. Wu. I can't," Kinuhata Sai screamed with all her might, begging, "Wu. Like this. And really, Wu. I can't." Ignoring Kinuhata Sai's pleading, Wu Yen continued tossing Kinuhata Sai's body with one hand while caressing Frenda's body with the other. Soon, Frenda's body started to blush. After caressing Frenda's perky butt, Wu Yen placed Kinuhata Sai on top of her. Ignoring Kinuhata Sai's body, he placed Frenda's body on top of Kinuhata Sai's, overlapping them. "You. What are you trying to do?" Kinuhata Sai's eyes started to lose focus. She already guessed Wu Yan's plan, but it's because she guessed it that Kinuhata Sai asked. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that her first time turned out to be so exciting. When Frenda's body was on top of her, Kinuhata Sai's mind went blank. She subconsciously hugged Frenda. Kinuhata Sai wanted to scold Frenda, but Wu Yan's relentless thrusts stopped her from doing so. Looking at Frenda's face, Kinuhata Sai finally realized that Frenda's eyes were devoid of any light. Realizing that this matter isn't as simple as it seems, Kinuhata Sai grabbed onto Wu Yan like a life-saving straw, hoping that he would listen to her. But this is another hopeless wish. With a long thrust, Wu Yan entered Frenda, who was on top of Kinuhata Sai. Frenda, who was moving around like a doll, let out a whimper. After that whimper, Frenda's blue eyes finally regained some light. But, if possible, Frenda would rather not recover. Frenda has been maintaining her consciousness, but for some reason, she couldn't control her body. In her mind, she watched herself and Takitsubu Riku being naked and entering this forbidden place. Frenda only had one thought in her mind, and that is, I should just die. This thought. When Frenda saw herself being carried by Wu Yan and placed on top of Kinuhata Sai's body, it became even more intense. Realizing what was going to happen in the next second, in the last second before she could no longer control her body, Frenda let out a hateful cry from the depths of her heart. Shokuho Misaki. I hate you. In the next second, Frenda felt her body being forcefully penetrated, then she regained control of her body. Her blue eyes regained some light and met with Kinuhata Sai's eyes. The two of them stared at each other, but the expression in their eyes was one of shame and anger. The sudden divine opening made Wu Yan's face as wide as a hippopotamus. A satisfied smile hung on his face. Wu Yan looked at the two lowly girls lying in front of him. He almost couldn't hold back his laughter. How long has it been since I last had this kind of treatment? Sure enough, being a transmigrator is so satisfying. One moment Frenda, the next Kinuhata Sai. Wu Yan didn't want to talk anymore, and in fact, he really didn't want to talk anymore. Wu Yan just wanted to enjoy himself before he leaves this world. Although he used to enjoy himself almost every day, today, he enjoyed himself a lot. The two lowly girls who were looking at each other helplessly started moaning in front of each other. They were so close to each other that they started moaning in front of each other. Kinuhata Sai and Frenda both had an expression of wanting to cry, but no tears came out. Too embarrassed to look at each other, they could only close their eyes. However, after moaning, the fragrance from their mouths still hit each other's faces, telling them that this is all real. Just like that, Frenda and Kinuhata Sai started living the most unbearable day in their hearts, including Takitsubu Riku, who is still standing on the side. She still hasn't broken free from the control, but she still has her own consciousness and witnessed everything with her own eyes. Chapter 296. Heavy, very heavy. This was the first thought that flashed through Wu Yan's mind after he lifted Takitsubu Riku's breast. It's as heavy as Ikaros, it's as heavy as Shokuhu Exion, but it's different from Ikaros and Shokuhu Exion's. Wu Yan couldn't quite wrap his head around this strange feeling. He's also surprised by it. What kind of person is Wu Yan now? To put it simply, Wu Yan is no longer human. After all, he is now a true ancestor. In addition to the strong vitality and recovery ability of a true ancestor, they also have a very prominent characteristic. That is their physical strength. This is to be expected. After all, a true ancestor is in existence at the top of the life chain. How can their physical strength be weak? It might be a bit of an exaggeration to say that he can split mountains and earth, but that's it. With this kind of strength, although lifting a pair of breasts is abnormal, it is undoubtedly a world of difference compared to the so-called splitting mountains and earth. It actually made Wu Yan feel heavy. Wu Yan also knows that this weight is different from normal weight. But this doesn't stop Wu Yan from liking this pair of breasts. Takitsubu Riku still has a blank look on her face. Of course, this is only on the surface. In the depths of her heart, The consciousness that saw her being teased by Wu Yen is extremely embarrassed. If Takitsubu Riku could still control her body, her face would be completely red by now. Shame is an understatement to describe the current situation. Takitsubu Riku is one of them. Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, who are still lying on top of each other under Wu Yan's body, are the other two. Things have already developed to this point. Whether it is Kinuhata Sai or Frenda, they have already accepted their fate and threw away all the emotions in their hearts to endure everything that Wu Yan has brought to them. The result of this is that Kinuhata Sai, who has already reached her peak many times, is now lying on the ground like a dead pig. As for Frenda, although she came later, her situation is similar. After all, no matter how strong she is still just a lowly. After pushing Frenda to her limit again, Wu Yen took a deep breath to suppress the restlessness in his heart. Listening to Frenda's long moans, he gently placed her beside the exhausted Kinuhata Sai. At the same time, he tightened his grip on Takitsubu Riku's breast. Takitsubu Riku didn't react at all, as if she didn't care about Wu Yan's actions. However, within those dead eyes, a layer of ripples suddenly bloomed. Her skin slowly turned red, proving that Takitsubu Riku isn't completely emotionless. Of course Takitsubu Riku can feel it. Although she has lost control of her body, her senses are still there. Taking a glance at Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, who are panting like dead dogs, Takitsubu Riku's heart is filled with an inexplicable sense of fear and anticipation. Just like Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, Takitsubu Riku knew from the day she was kidnapped by Wu Yan that this day would come sooner or later. With Wu Yan's personality, Takitsubu Riku even thought that this day came a little late. Before this, she always thought that Wu Yan would eat them on the first day of their arrival. She didn't expect this day to be delayed. Takitsubu Riku couldn't help but wonder if Wu Yan wanted them from Mujino Shizuri, not because he wanted to eat them like Kinuhata Sai said, but because he had other motives? If Takitsubu Riku knew that among the three of them, Frenda was eaten on the first night, she wouldn't think this way, and now, this day has finally come. Although it was a result of someone with ulterior motives, Takitsubu Riku can't help but feel a little hopeful. Towards something like this, after all, back then, Takitsubu Riku was different from Kinuhata Sai and Frenda. When she followed Wu Yan, Kinuhata Sai was half forced and Frenda was half threatened. The reason why she was half forced and half threatened was because of Kinuhata Sai and Frenda. Frenda was a little too timid, but if Kinuhata Sai really didn't want to follow Wu Yan, then even if Wu Yan was serious, she wouldn't have compromised. It can only be said that after that day at the lab, everything that Wu Yan did to Kinuhata Sai and Frenda has left a faint shadow in their hearts, just like Takitsubu Riku. After all, before this, they were still pure and innocent girls. That's why under Wu Yan's half-forced and half-threatened situation, the two girls subconsciously didn't resist. They just wanted to give it a try, and were basically abducted. But Takitsubu Riku is the only one among the three who volunteered. Compared to Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, who can only leave a faint shadow, Takitsubu Riku left a deep impression in her heart. Especially after the incident with Kakin Taidaku, her impression of Wu Yan exploded. That's why she volunteered. It's just that, as a normal girl, Takitsubu Riku is still a little scared of her first time. When Wu Yan hugged Takitsubu Riku and pressured her with his great spear, this fear intensified. Takitsubu Riku wanted to say something, but her body is being controlled, she can't move. Seeing that the great spear is about to reach the city gate, Takitsubu Riku couldn't help but shout the exact same words that Frenda shouted in her heart. Shokuhu Shin. I hate you. The moment he finished his thought, a poochie sound was heard as well. A soft groan came out from Takitsubu Riku's mouth. At the same time, it means that she has regained control of her body. Her eyes that have regained their vigor stared at Wu Yan's face. Takitsubu Riku clenched her teeth and endured the pain. But her deeply furrowed brows let Wu Yan know that it's not that she doesn't feel pain. Grabbing Wu Yan's shoulders tightly with both hands and wrapping her legs around Wu Yan's waist, Takitsubu Riku softly moaned and said softly, "Please, please be gentler." Wu Yan put on a hearty smile, causing Takitsubu Riku's heart to thump. At the same time, Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, who have regained some of their strength, wanted to punch that evil smiling face. Takitsubu Riku's eyes were blinded so she couldn't see Wu Yan's intention. But Kinuhata Sai and Frenda saw through it. That's obviously a proud smile. After happily licking Takitsubu Riku's breasts that Wu Yan couldn't stop praising, Wu Yan held one of Takitsubu Riku's breasts with one hand and her breasts with the other. Then, he began the action that he did the most today. Takitsubu Riku's moans were released by Wu Yan's actions. Not long after, Kinuhata Sai and Frenda's moans followed suit. In this space, it's like a symphony, causing ripples in the air. Outside the door, Shokuhu Xian's face blushed as she listened to the sounds coming from the room. After all, she sang the same song this morning. Listening to the three different voices, Shokuhu Xian's eyes flashed with embarrassment and anger. Based on her understanding of Wu Yan, these three girls are definitely being targeted by him. Shokuhu Xian's only wish is for that day to come earlier. Sighing softly, Shokuhu Xian's eyes were filled with anger as she said softly, "You got off too easy." The more she thought about it, the more she felt it wasn't worth it. At the same time, she was pissed at herself. What the hell is wrong with her to care about something like this? Her starry eyes looked towards Mikoto's room. She rolled her eyes, a sly glint flashed in her eyes. Her lips curled into a cold smile. "No, I can't let that bastard get away so easily. At least, I can't let him get away so easily." Chapter 297. Academy City, School District 7, Wu Yan's home. The room that had been filled with intimate sounds for the entire day was now completely silent except for a few light panting sounds. Wu Yan is lying straight on his pillow with a face like a spring breeze. It's easy to see how comfortable Wu Yan is right now. Kinuhata Sai's petite body is lying behind him. Frenda is lying on Wu Yan's left side while Takitsubu Riku, who has the best figure, is being hugged by Wu Yan and placed on top of him. This scene tells everyone what happened here. Feeling Takitsubu Riku's soft breasts pressing against his chest, even if Wu Yan doesn't smoke, he can't help but want to light one up. It's only now that Wu Yan recalled what happened with Ripple. He felt that something was wrong. Towards Frenda and Takitsubu Riku's previous behavior, whether it's what he saw on the screen or what he got to know about the two girls during this period of time, Wu Yan has a feeling that the two girls wouldn't do something like him naked and willingly join Ripple's battle. With their personalities, they wouldn't do such a thing. Just by thinking about Frenda and Takitsubu Riku's previous behavior and the situation in this room, you can understand what's going on. After all, Wu Yan isn't a bulldozer that doesn't know how to use his brain. You are. It's because he thought of the reason for this that Wu Yan was stunned. It can't be, right? With Her Majesty's personality, would she help me expand the Crystal Palace? That's impossible, she's Her Majesty. Wu Yan thought he understood Shokuhu Sasuke very well, but he didn't think that if Shokuhu Sasuke could see through his little scheme, with her personality, it's not impossible for her to do something like this. And when something like this happens, it means that Her Majesty is going to scam someone. Wu Yan didn't expect this, that's why he ended up in tragedy. Wu Yan didn't want to think about it since he can't figure out why. He just kept this matter in his heart and decided to ask Shokuhu Xian about it. Wu Yan shook his head, closed his eyes and fell asleep. At the same time, in another room, Shoujo, Mikoto, Astria, Shokuhu Xian, and Ikaros, who was hugging a sleeping Flandre-chan, slowly walked out. The girls had different expressions on their faces. Astria's face was filled with embarrassment and anger. Ikaros's face was expressionless. Shoujo and Mikoto had their heads lowered. Only Shokuhu Xian had a faint smile on her face. Everyone's gaze landed on the same room after they walked out of the room. That room is Wu Yan's room. Shoujo and Mikoto looked around the living room. When they didn't see Wu Yan, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, their faces darkened even more. A dense aura surrounded them. Even Astria took a few steps back in fear. The room was silent. After a while, Shoujo and Mikoto took the lead and walked towards Wu Yan's room. Astria, Ikaros, and Shokuhu Xien followed behind. When Wu Yan's consciousness returned to his head, Wu Yan let out a light sigh. He opened his eyes and sat up from his bed. After a good night's sleep, Wu Yan felt his bones going soft. Stretching lazily, Wu Yan's sleepy eyes slowly regained their usual vigor. However, when Wu Yan saw the scene in front of him, he froze on the spot. His entire body stiffened like a rock. His pair of wine-red eyes were in a state of stupor. Looking at the scene in his room, Wu Yan thought he was dreaming. Shoujo and Mikoto, one on the left and one on the right, stood in front of his bed. They were looking at him with a faint sneer on their face. Their eyes were burning with rage. Astria looked at Wu Yan like she's looking at a scumbag. Ikaros didn't know what to do with Wu Yan, who just woke up. She wanted to say something but she couldn't. She lowered her head and hugged Flandre-chan's sleeping body. Shokuhu Sasuke had a smile in her eyes, as if she's watching something interesting. Wu Yan shuddered. Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku left their beds at some point in time. They're all neatly dressed, but they're standing behind the group without saying a word. Only Wu Yan could see that Kinuhata Sai and Frenda were looking at Wu Yan with an inexplicable expression. They seemed to be taking pleasure in his misfortune. Takitsubu Riku looked at Wu Yan as if she was mourning for him. Her eyes were filled with pity. Wu Yan's expression changed rapidly as he looked at the different expressions of the women in front of him. Sometimes it was green, sometimes it was white, sometimes it was red, sometimes it was as dark as the bottom of a pot. It was complicated to the extreme. His heart felt like it was being trampled by 100 million alpacas. That heart of his was just a second ago was trampled on like a piece of scrap metal. There are no words in this world that can describe what he's feeling right now. Suddenly, Shoujo smiled. Her smile was bright and beautiful. Looking at that smile, Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat. Hey Yan, Shoujo looked at Wu Yan and said with a smile. I remember you exchanged for a true ancestor bloodline and transformed yourself into a true ancestor vampire, right? Wu Yan felt a sense of danger in his heart. Wu Yan almost ran away. Wu Yan resisted the urge to run and forced a smile. Yeah, what's wrong? This time, it's Mikoto's turn to smile. With a sweet smile on her face, Mikoto casually said something that made Wu Yan fall into complete despair. That's great. This way, no matter how I play with you, you won't break. As soon as she said that, the electricity started to flow around Mikoto's body. At the same time, small cherry blossoms started to appear out of thin air and curl around Hinagika's palm. Looking at the scene in front of him, Wu Yan fell silent. Wu Yan, who has guessed the situation, pretty much knows that begging for mercy has become a luxury. Thus, he could only lower his head and close his eyes as if accepting his fate. Raising his head, Wu Yan raised his voice and yelled out the final line of this world that is the most classic line ever uttered in this world. What a misfortune! What followed was a thick blue-white lightning and a crystal sword that cut through the atmosphere. Astria, Ikaros, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku all left the room. 3 of them returned to their rooms satisfied with Mikoto's misfortune. 2 of them couldn't bear to watch any longer, so they left. After a while, Hinagiku and Mikoto angrily left the room that was filled with the smell that made them blush. They didn't even close the door and left. Only Wu Yan was left sitting on the bed with a gloomy face. Although he was not injured at all, from his wine-red eyes that were filled with sorrow, it could be seen that the experience just now was definitely unforgettable. As a true ancestor, Wu Yan was both lucky and unlucky. At the very least, there were some unforgettable memories that were deeply engraved in his mind. Shokuho Miyabi giggled as she walked up to Wu Yan. She lightly touched his face with her white-gloved hand. The Crystal Palace isn't that easy to open. You have to restrain yourself in the future. Dear love, looking at the sweet smile on the face of the queen who caused his surname to be Fu and caused his tragedy, Wu Yan's heart was filled with tears. Chapter 298. That's how it is in the living room. Wu Yan, Shoujo, Mikoto, Ikaros, Shokuho Misaki, Astria, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, 1 man and 8 women gathered in the living room. Wu Yan stood out like a sore thumb among the flowers. Wu Yan raised his hand meekly after looking at the women who are staring at him with different expressions. After all, the scene of the divine retribution is still fresh in his mind. Shoujo narrowed her eyes and glared at Wu Yan. Wu Yan felt goosebumps all over his body. Shoujo humphed coldly and turned her head away. I have no objections. A pair of brown eyes stared at Wu Yan's face. Mikoto gritted her teeth and stood up. She stomped in front of Wu Yan and grabbed his ear. Ignoring the pained expression on Wu Yan's face, she pressed her lips against Wu Yan's ear and yelled, "If there's a next time, you're dead!" The powerful sound wave assaulted Wu Yan's eardrums. Wu Yan's eyes rolled back and he started foaming at the mouth. He almost started bleeding from his orifices. When he came back to his senses, Wu Yan quickly shouted, I know. It won't happen again." Mikoto unwillingly let go of Wu Yan's ear and stomped her feet angrily before walking back to her seat. Wu Yan helplessly touched his ear and sighed. Who can he blame? Who can he blame for opening the Crystal Palace and receiving retribution? At the same time, Wu Yan was laughing inside. Yeah, it won't happen again. There won't be so many people like this time. Shoujo, Mikoto, you guys are too sweet. Wu Yan, who was laughing inside, quickly met Shokuho Misaki's smiling eyes. When she saw Wu Yan looking over, Shokuho Misaki curled her lips into a meaningful smile. This surprised Wu Yan. He quickly put away his little abacus and his smile turned into a bitter one. Judging from Her Majesty's expression, there was an 80% chance that she had seen through his thoughts. As expected, he might be able to deceive others with his tricks, but it would be strange if he could deceive Her Majesty. If he didn't have an electromagnetic barrier around him, Wu Yan would have thought that Shokuho Misaki's ability could already work on him. Sometimes, Jusama is the scariest of all. While Wu Yan was avoiding Shokuho Misaki's gaze, Mikoto returned to her seat. She patted her cheeks and said after some thought, Since the sisters are saved, after we leave, the world will stop moving. I don't have to worry about my family's situation. I have no objections to leaving this world. Astria immediately raised her hand. Yes. Astria has no objections as well. Ikaros looked at Wu Yan without saying anything. No one asked her anything. Even the newcomer Shokuho Misaki could see that Ikaros is completely following Wu Yan's lead, let alone the other girls. Shokuho Misaki caressed her cheeks and smiled. Then, she said something that gave Wu Yan a headache. I also want to see the stage where Misaka-san can show off her skills. After that, Shokuho Misaki's starry eyes looked at Mikoto, and Mikoto happened to look at Shokuho Misaki as well. Their starry eyes met, and the audience could almost see the intense electric current in their eyes, colliding with each other, sparks flying everywhere. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. He felt a little sad. The journey from here on out won't be peaceful. Wu Yan wasn't the only one who had the same thought. Shoujo also had a headache. She sighed and glared at Wu Yan. This is all because of this bastard who randomly opened the Crystal Palace. Under Kaishu-sama's piercing gaze, Wu Yan's mouth twitched even more. Once again, the journey from here on out won't be peaceful. Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku couldn't stay calm. Especially under the gaze of everyone else, they felt even more uneasy. Wu Yan looked at the 3 girls seriously and said in a serious tone, All right, it's time for you to make a choice. Aiko, Frenda, Riku, what's your decision? 2 consecutive pet names made Kinuhata Sai and Takitsubu Riku feel dizzy. Although this wasn't the first time they were called this was the second time. Furthermore, the last time it was a joke. This time, it was very serious, causing the 2 girls to feel a little uncomfortable. As for Frenda, she was dissatisfied. Why am I still using my original name? Under everyone's gaze, Takitsubu Riku lowered her head and raised 2 of her fingers. She started to play with them. After a long while, she spoke softly. I don't have any objections. In Academy City, Takitsubu Riku didn't have any relatives or friends. In fact, in the entire Academy City, other than Mujino Shizuri, Kinuhata Sai, and Frenda, she didn't know anyone else. Now that Kinuhata Sai and Frenda are here, Takitsubu Riku is more afraid of Mujino Shizuri. Unlike Kinuhata Sai and Frenda, Takitsubu Riku doesn't feel like she's a comrade. Takitsubu Riku doesn't have anything to miss about Academy City. Kinuhata Sai and Frenda are in the same situation as Takitsubu Riku. Originally, they shouldn't care about it, but for the people they follow, they care a lot. Abduction, rape, in just a few days the 2 girls were devoured by Wu Yen, the big bad wolf. Towards Wu Yen, they don't hate Wu Yen. After all, what Wu Yen did was despicable, but the 2 girls can't bring themselves to hate him. However, they are unwilling to accept it. That's why they are unwilling to accept it. In such a mood, the 2 girls really wanted to refuse. But who would have thought that Takitsubu Riku would agree? This softened the hearts of the 2 girls that had hardened with great difficulty. Frenda glanced at Takitsubu Riku and sighed dejectedly. She felt as if she and Takitsubu Riku shared a life as she replied helplessly. In the end, I didn't have any objections. As if the straw that broke the camel's back, Kinuhata Sai also felt helpless. She no longer hesitated. Since she has nothing to miss in Academy City, she might as well leave. Up to you guys. When Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, and Shokuho Misaki all agreed to leave this world, the cold mechanical voice of the system rang out. Dungeon World. Magic Catalog. Dungeon Mission. Rescue. Mission 1. Save 20,000 Misaka sisters. Revive all the dead sisters and heal all the Misaka sisters who are still alive. Collect all 20,000 Misaka sisters and store them in the biocontainment device. Completed. Mission Reward. Equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 100,000 each. Mission 2. Defeat the strongest Esper in Academy City. Accelerator. Completed. Mission Reward. Randomly summon a character. Mission 3. Seduce at least 3 characters from this dungeon world and have them willingly follow you out of this world. Completed. Mission Reward. Summon a character that meets the requirements of Mission 3 for free. Hearing the system's voice, Wu Yen had mixed feelings. He was happy because he completed Mission 3. As for his sadness, it's not really that bad, it's just a little bit of regret. After all, Mission 3 only requires him to be at least 3 characters, there's no upper limit. He only exceeded the requirement by 1. How disappointing, Mikoto suddenly asked Wu Yen. Right, Yen, if we can leave like this, what about the sisters? Wu Yen put away the regret in his heart and sighed. Since the sisters can be said to be the same existence, even if there are a lot of them, there's no need to summon them one by one. You can use 100,000 summoning points to summon all of them, so there's no need to worry. Hearing this, all the women nodded. Chapter 299. Pedestrians come and go, cars stop here and there. While the people of Academy City are living their normal lives, they don't know that in Academy City, being normal is always a luxury. As for those people who lived lives that they believed to be extraordinary, they did not know that the ordinary world that they were living in had become even more extraordinary due to the arrival of a certain someone. They also didn't know that the person who made this extraordinary world even more extraordinary was about to leave this seemingly ordinary world and return this world to its ordinary state. Standing on the rooftop of a skyscraper, Wu Yen seriously observed everything in Academy City. There's an indescribable feeling in his heart. After all, if you don't look at the dark side of Academy City, on the surface, Academy City looks just like a peaceful developed city. Mikoto and Shokuho Misaki have already returned to Tokuwadai. Mikoto is going to meet up with Kuriko, Wiharu, Ruko and the others. After all, after leaving this time, who knows when she'll come back next time. As for Shokuho Misaki, maybe she'll go back and take a look at the Tokuwadai before she left. Looking around at the bustling Academy City, Wu Yen took a deep breath and said goodbye to this Academy City that he's been living in for quite some time. At this time, Wu Yen couldn't help but think about the friends he's made over this period of time. What are they doing now? Kuriko, Wiharu, Ruko, they're probably following Mikoto around. What's that girl that the system, tacitly, allowed him to flirt with when he first arrived in this world doing now? There's also Kanori Miwe, who he met once, she's probably in the branch office right now. There's also Mijino Shizuri, she probably doesn't know that he's about to bring her 3 subordinates out of this world. Maybe the next time he comes back, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku will be stronger than her. At that time, Mijino Shizuri will probably go crazy. There's also that group of Tokuwadai ladies who chased after me for 9 blocks. They probably don't know that the 2 lords they look forward to the most are about to accompany me. What was Tsuchimikado Motoharu doing? There was also Danshi, who feared him like a tiger, and Itsali, who had a crush on Mikoto. What were they doing? What is Divine Rend Weaver doing at this time? Also, Alistair, Iwa's, Accelerator's final work, unknowingly, the people that she could only see on the screen before had now become acquainted with so many people, everything felt like a dream. Wu Yen stared at Academy City in a daze. He suddenly felt a sense of reluctance. In this world, there were still many people he hadn't gotten to know, people he could only see on the screen. If he had the chance to come back next time, he would definitely go and get to know him. Thinking up to here, Wu Yen smiled. The airship in the sky that never landed also flew over Wu Yan's head. Seeing this, Wu Yan's eyes turned and suddenly, he had an impulse. Pedestrians were still coming and going, and cars were still going and stopping. Under this unchanging scene, the floating airship suddenly trembled, and an elegant bell rang out from an unknown corner of the airship. Then, it attracted the attention of everyone in Academy City. When the bell sound stopped, everyone in Academy City was already attracted to it. At this time, the airship that used to only sound like a machine suddenly let out a voice that clearly belonged to a stranger. Everyone in Academy City. Hello everyone. When this voice came, a lot of people in Academy City were stunned. Among them, there was Mikoto, Kuriko, Wiharu, Ruko, Shokuho Misaki, and Wu Yan's girls. Because this voice was Wu Yan's voice. I'm really sorry, everyone in Academy City. I want to apologize, not only for disturbing everyone here, but also because I am about to kidnap your electroshock princess, Misaka Mikoto. Everyone in Academy City was stunned. Before they could react, the owner of the voice spoke again. As the saying goes, our Academy City without Ciscanon is not a good Academy City. So, as I am about to kidnap Ciscanon, I can only apologize to everyone. Here, I would like to dedicate a song to the Scientific Academy City and the Scientific Railgun. Let go of the dream engraved in my heart, even if I have to abandon the future. I don't care about boundaries, they mean nothing to me. This power turned the unreachable longing into a bright light. If the path I've walked until now only allows me to wallow in the past, why not destroy everything in front of me? Fall into the dark streets, where will the people walk? The increasing pain will make me protect someone. Look, lightning circled the entire planet, trying to find a way out. Only my railgun can shoot it down. Right now. Let the real premonition be in the depths of my heart. Travel back and forth at the speed of light. If this is all that you desire, then grasp it with one hand in the name of radiance. I've always believed in the vow you made to me that day. Even the sparkling hot tears in his eyes would one day turn into his own strength. Once I stop, I will feel a little sad. I've never been lost, that's not a lie. The coins flying in the air depict the fate of the parabola. The answer that's on the verge of being revealed today also makes my heart burn with passion. Shine. The dazzling light awakens the true longing. Only my railgun can shoot it down. I will carry it out to the end and never back down. Even if I'm covered in wounds, I will continue forward. Aim at the darkness with my cold and shining eyes and tear it apart with precision. The so-called confusion will be dispelled in one fell swoop. As long as this heart is still calling out to me, I will not let anyone be my obstacle. Countless wishes are dancing in the air, accumulating in my hands. Glimpses can be seen in the torn darkness. Deep and heavy sorrowful memories. Despair wavered in the fading reality. I will never yield to it. Right now I'll bet my existence. Stick out my chest. Be proud of everything I have. Look, lightning is circling the entire planet, trying to find a way out. Only my railgun can shoot it down. Right now. Let the real premonition be in the depths of my heart. Travel back and forth at the speed of light. Let go of the dream engraved in my heart, even if I have to abandon the future. I don't care about boundaries, it's meaningless to me. This power turns the unreachable longing into a dazzling light. What is that idiot doing? On a business street, Mikoto's face is red, steam is coming out from her head. It's obvious that she's embarrassed to the extreme. Ueharu and Ruko are covering their mouths in shock. Listening to the confession-like song, they can't help but be immersed in it. Kuriko's mouth is opening and closing, her face is blank, her whole body is gray. Listening to the song, Kuriko mutters, "I've lost, completely lost." As she mutters, her eyes are filled with tears. Turning around to look at Mikoto, Kuriko's tears are about to collapse. "Yuwa, Wani-sama. Yuwa, my Wani-sama was really taken away. This isn't real, Yuwa." "Wah! Kuriko, what are you doing? Let go of me." "Wani-sama, don't leave me." "Yuwa, let go of me." "Wani-sama, my Wani-sama." At the same time, in Tokuwadai, Shokuho Misaki coldly snorted and turned her head away, not saying anything. Shoujo and Kinuhata Sai also did the same at home in the windowless building. Alistair quietly looked at the screen in front of him. Looking at the noisy academy city, he silently closed his eyes. Kidnapped, huh? Chapter 300. High up in the sky, clouds and mist were drifting gently. A gentle breeze was blowing gently. The azure sky was like an ocean hanging in the sky, rippling with faint waves. Many people knew that this place was not completely devoid of life. In the endless sky, a ripple suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The ripple quickly expanded and dispersed all the clouds and mist around it. Then, the ripple turned into a giant magic formation. The magic formation flashed and an airship suddenly appeared from the magic formation. It was flying at an extremely fast speed towards the distance. There, a gigantic building the size of a city was located below the airship. "We're here. Spalier World Academy." On the deck of the airship, a young girl with tea-colored hair pointed her finger at the city-sized building below and shouted excitedly. As the tea-haired girl spoke, the people standing behind her, who seemed to be her companions, could not help but feel their spirits lift. They took a few steps forward and looked down. When they saw the gigantic building, all of them put on smiles. One of the girls with long pink hair couldn't help but wipe the sweat on her forehead. She said with a bit of relief, "We're finally here. If we didn't make it, I would have collapsed." Hearing this, the girl with tea-colored hair was stunned for a moment. Then she lowered her hand and laughed. "Oh right, I almost forgot, you have acrophobia." The girl with pink hair's face stiffened and she forced a smile. "Since you already know, don't say it out loud." The girl with tea-colored hair looked at the girl with pink hair in confusion and asked, "That's strange, didn't you already take the antidote? Why do I feel like you're still a bit scared?" The girl with pink hair wanted to cry but no tears came out. She complained, "But the antidote is about to wear off." The tea-haired girl could not help but laugh. She only hurriedly stopped after receiving a fierce glare from the pink-haired girl. Seeing this, the pink-haired girl snorted and looked down at the building that was getting closer and closer. She spoke with some anticipation. "I wonder how Feifei and Lulu are doing. Is Liren doing well there?" At this moment, the only male in the group finally reacted. He was holding a cute little girl in his arms. He walked to the front of the girls and looked down at the Spalier World Academy. The corners of his mouth slowly curled up. "Spalier World Academy, I, Wu Yen, am here. Yes, the people on the airship are Wu Yen, Hinajuku, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandra-chan, Astria, Shokuho Misaki, Kinuhata Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, who returned from the world of magic. Is that the Super Spalier World Academy?" Kinuhata Sai looked down at the buildings that looked more like a city than an academy and gasped in surprise. It's so big compared to Academy City." Shokuho Misaki covered her mouth and giggled. She looked down at the Spalier World Academy with interest. An academy the size of Academy City? Interesting, much more interesting than Tokawadai. Frenda tugged at her beret as if she could not accept it and shouted exaggeratedly, "But in the end, are all the academies in the other world this big?" "Who knew?" Wu Yen shook his head in response to Frenda's question, denying her fantasy. "No, there is only one academy in the entire Spalier world. The Spalier World Academy was established by the three empires of the Spalier world, Ailu, Baruba, and Fea empires. Its size is not something the academy in your mind can compare to." "I see, there is only one academy in the entire world?" Shokuho Misaki smiled happily. "No wonder it's so big." Flandra-chan, who was in Wu Yan's arms, stretched her neck and looked down at the Spalier World Academy. She pulled on Wu Yan's clothes and said hopefully, "Oniai-chan, that building is so big, is it fun?" Wu Yan laughed and he poked Flandra-chan's nose. "Flandra-chan, that place isn't a fun place. But, for you, Flandra-chan, it's not that bad. The Spalier World Academy is the only academy in the entire Spalier world. One can only imagine how big it is. In such a large academy, geniuses from Ailu, Baruba, Fea, and even the Spalier world will gather here. Geniuses from all over the world. One can only imagine what kind of place the Spalier World Academy is. It must be a place with countless geniuses, countless competitions, and countless strong fighters. To be honest, those without strength or potential wouldn't be able to stay in such an academy. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it's hell for the weak and heaven for the strong. Fortunately, this is just an academy and not an arena. Otherwise, with so many geniuses from all over the world gathered here, those without strength would have died a long time ago. Of course, this has nothing to do with Wu Yan's group. Because among Wu Yan's group of 10, the weakest is rank 6. And Flandra-chan, the strongest of them all, was at the 9th stage. Wu Yan's, "It's not that bad for Flandra-chan," is the truth. For a rank 9 Flandra-chan, the Spalier World Academy is just a place for her to play. At least, Wu Yen didn't know from Feifei and Lulu that anyone in the Spalier World Academy can reach rank 9. Of course, those in their 70s and 80s are an exception. In the Spalier World Academy, as long as one is over 25 years old, those with the ability will graduate and those without will be expelled. It can be said that it's a very cruel system. In the Spalier World Academy, those who are over 25 years old can only stay in the academy as teachers. Even the weakest teachers are rank 7. Some of the outstanding talents among the teachers were even at the 8th level. As for the Spalier World Academy, the only ones who can reach rank 9 are the 12 members of the Spalier World Academy's board of directors. In other words, Flandra-chan is at least in the top 13 of the Spalier World Academy. Don't think that being in the top 13 means you're weak. The Spalier World Academy is a joint venture of 3 empires. Therefore, the board of directors consists of the strongest from the Ailu, Baruba, and Feia empires. Among them, Wu Yen knows Feifei and Lulu's family, the former head of the Lori family, Lulu's grandfather. At the same time, there are also the strongest from the second and third family of the Ailu Empire. The strongest from the first, second, and third families of the other two empires are members of the board of directors. There are also the three emperors of the three empires. At the same time, they are the three deans of the Spalier World Academy. They are the rulers of the board of directors. To put it bluntly, if the Spalier World Academy were to be considered a faction, it would be the strongest faction in the Spalier world. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it's a joint venture of three empires. The only academy in the Spalier world, the joint venture of three empires. It's the most terrifying organization in the entire continent. That's why it's named after this world, the Spalier world. Unfortunately, the Academy's name means that it's a huge organization that can't participate in the Spalier world. However, if one could become an outstanding talent in this academy, then one would have the chance to meet the top powerhouses in this world other than the 5 demigod powerhouses. Chapter 301. Speaking of which, the reason Wu Yan's group came to the Spalier World Academy was thanks to Lulu and Feifei. Lulu and Feifei invited Wu Yan to the Spalier World Academy when they went to the Spalier World Academy. After all, Wu Yan was older than Lulu, but just like Feifei, he wasn't 25 years old yet. As long as you're not 25 years old yet, you can become a student of this super academy as long as you have some strength. Even if you're just rank 1 or level 1 according to the system, you can still come. However, whether or not one could stay in this super academy with its terrifying competition would depend on one's perseverance and potential. At the very least, in this gathering place where geniuses roamed freely, those without a bit of ability wouldn't dare to enter. Because you're afraid of losing face. Of course, there are some thick-skinned people who can stay in the Spalier World Academy until they're 25 years old. However, whether or not they can pass the graduation exam depends on their ability. If they can't, they'll be laughed at no matter how thick-skinned they are. All of this has nothing to do with Wu Yan's group. At least, with their current strength, they can at least do well in the Spalier World Academy, even if they can't be at the forefront. It's been a few days since they returned to the Spalier world. Although Wu Yan's group stayed in the Spalier World Academy for quite some time, with the time ratio of 100, Wu Yan's group has only been away for a little more than a day. Not long after they returned, Wu Yan decided to come to the Spalier World Academy. To be honest, Wu Yan is very interested in this academy that Feifei and Lulu have praised to the heavens. For the people of the Spalier world, this is a place filled with geniuses and powerhouses. However, for Wu Yan, this isn't important. What's important is, geniuses are equal to experience. Powerhouses are equal to experience. Other people see this place as a gathering place for geniuses and powerhouses, but for Wu Yan, it's just a gathering place for experience points. So, what other place can attract Wu Yan more than the Spalier World Academy? Of course, other than that damned behemoth forest and those super powerful magical beasts in the deepest part of the forest. As the hover ship slowly descended, the Spalier World Academy got closer and closer to Wu Yan's group. Only when they got closer did Wu Yan's group realize how big this academy is. After the hover ship descended for some distance, Wu Yan's group could no longer see the inside of the building. After a while, even the walls of the academy blocked their line of sight. The floating plaza of the Spalier World Academy is not far from the academy's entrance. Therefore, when the hover ship landed, everyone who got off the hover ship immediately saw the tall entrance of the academy. Wu Yan's group wasn't the only one who came to the Spalier World Academy. Wu Yan's group wasn't the only one who came to the hover ship. A lot of people came. Among them, if they weren't students of the academy, they were here to enroll in the academy, or they had other objectives. Therefore, as more and more people arrived, more and more people came to receive them. The floating plaza was packed with people. However, when Wu Yan's group got off the hover ship, the plaza, which was as noisy as a market, suddenly quieted down. Men and women, old and young, all of them were stunned as they watched Wu Yan's group get off the hover ship. Their eyes flickered with the same intense expression. That is, amazement. Beautiful. Too beautiful. Shoujo, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandre-chan, Shokuhu Misaki, Astria, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. A total of 9 girls of different ages, but without exception, all of them have a face that could bring disaster to a country. What kind of scene would it be when there were as many as 9 beauties who could bring calamity to a country and its people gathered together? The people in the floating plaza can tell you this. If you don't know, please turn the channel to here. As for the fact that Wu Yan is a third wheel among the group of beautiful girls, they automatically ignored it. The people who came to the Spalier World Academy are geniuses from all corners of the Spalier world. Among them, there are some scions from big families, and of course, some of them are scum. Many of them are pale. They are obviously young masters who overindulged in debauchery. Their eyes are shining brightly as they look at Shoujo's group. Conceited in their strength, wealth, and background, these young master soldiers already had sinister smiles on their faces. Under the protection of their guards, they started walking towards Wu Yan and company. As a result, a scene like this appeared on the floating plaza. A group of arrogant young masters brought their guards to surround Wu Yan's group. Those who are from weaker families and know their place quietly retreated to the back when they saw this. Wu Yan's group is now completely empty. Some of the scions from big families who aren't weaker than these young masters frowned and coldly watched this scene unfold. However, they didn't show any intention of stopping them. Of course, there are also some who want to save the damsel in distress, or those who can't stand it anymore. They want to stop these scum when they pass by them. However, none of these people had such a thought. That is, these seemingly weak and easy to bully beautiful girls are people they can't afford to offend. But this is natural. After all, which scion from big families doesn't come with a group of guards? Wu Yan's group only has 10 people. Among these 10 people, 90% are women, and there are even children. Of course, no one would think that such a group is the type of people they can't afford to offend. Looking at the friendly faces that surrounded him, but if one were to look closely, one would notice that there is something fishy about them. Wu Yan frowned and a murderous aura flashed through his wine-red eyes. After all, in a situation like this, as long as one isn't an idiot, one can see why these people are coming over. His wine-red eyes turned slightly, a faint golden light flashed through them. Wu Yan smiled faintly and said softly, "Tired of living." At this time, a soft and boneless hand gently touched Wu Yan's hand. When Wu Yan turned around, Shokuho Misaki smiled at him and said, "Let me do it." Wu Yan was stunned for a moment, then he shook his head with a smile. He nodded at Shokuho Misaki, and then looked at the scum who are coming over. But this time, there's no killing intent in his eyes, only pity. Shokuho Misaki smiled faintly, and the expressions of the young masters around her relaxed. They almost couldn't hold back the evil thoughts in their hearts, and they were all screaming in their hearts, "She's mine." But what they didn't know is that this will be the last thought of some of them. An invisible wave came out of Shokuho Misaki's hand, which was holding a remote control, and spread towards those young masters. A portion of the young masters and their bodyguards had a drastic change in expression. One after another, they ignited their fighting aura or magic power. Some protected themselves while others protected their masters. A portion of them were completely unable to react to what was happening and were struck by the formless ripples. The nauseating look in their eyes completely faded away, and they became demented. Every single one of them had become idiots. When the invisible wave disappeared, there were already a lot of people on the floating plaza. It was at this time that fear crept into their hearts. When they finally reacted, Wu Yan and his group were already heading towards the academy gate. Only a faint voice echoed in their minds. This is just a warning. Chapter 302. This. Aren't you being too harsh on them? Mikoto saw the young master soldiers lying on the ground. With Mikoto's strength and her understanding of Shoujo Misaki, how could she not know what happened to those people? It's a good thing she's been traveling with Wu Yan for quite some time. If it was the old Mikoto, she would have jumped out and reprimanded Shoujo Misaki instead of just asking a simple question. Shoujo Misaki smiled faintly and glanced at Mikoto. If you were like me and had the ability to see through people's minds, you wouldn't think so. Wu Yan frowned at Shoujo Misaki's words, but it quickly smoothed out. Looks like those bastards have done quite a lot of bad things. Shoujo Misaki chuckled and nodded. Mikoto didn't say anything since the look in Shoujo Misaki's eyes made her uncomfortable. The group of 10 arrived at the entrance of the Spalier World Academy. Looking at the huge door, they didn't know what to do. Shoujo looked around and said speechlessly, I don't see any small doors or guards and the door is sealed so tightly. How are we supposed to get in? Wu Yan rubbed his chin and suddenly said, Oh right, I think I heard Lulu Feifei said that to enter the Spalier World Academy, we need to go through some kind of ceremony. Ceremony? The girls couldn't help but ask. Kinuhata Sai even stretched her neck and looked around the entrance. What kind of ceremony is this to enter the academy? I've never heard of something like this before. Kinuhata Sai's voice stopped abruptly and her eyes lit up. She pointed at the door and shouted, Look at what that is. Everyone immediately looked in the direction of the sound. After a moment of careful observation, everyone finally discovered that there was a small platform in the middle of the door. Could it be some kind of ceremony? Hey, I haven't even finished my sentence and you guys are already super leaving. Super rude. Super wait for me. As Wu Yan's group walked towards the entrance of the Spalier World Academy, the passers-by stopped and looked at Wu Yan's group. They gathered in groups of 2s and 3s as they pointed at Wu Yan and company. Most of them were even whispering to each other. Wu Yan could vaguely hear them whispering among themselves. Are they going to the ceremony platform? Are they here to enter the academy? Let's go take a look. Thus, everyone gathered together and headed towards Wu Yan and company. They wanted to watch the show unfold in front of their eyes. Wu Yan's group looked at the small platform in front of them and pondered. Of course, Flandre-chan was completely curious and didn't know if she understood the current situation or not. On the small platform right below the entrance of the Spalier World Academy, there are 3 small grooves with the words potential and strength written on top of the groove. Other than that, it's just an ordinary platform. The 10 of them couldn't help but look at each other in confusion. At this moment, a voice sounded behind Wu Yan's group. Are you guys here to enter the academy? Wu Yan and Ko flinched and they quickly turned their heads around. They saw a white-haired man with a steady and powerful face. Without looking at his head of white hair, he looked like he's in his 40s. His gaze swept over Wu Yan's group. When he saw Shoujo, Mikoto, and other beautiful girls, his face flashed with surprise but it disappeared in less than a second. Wu Yan, who has been observing the middle-aged man, took in all the changes in his expression. Seeing the middle-aged man's reaction, his wine-red eyes couldn't help but reveal a trace of satisfaction. His impression of the middle-aged man also increased by quite a bit. You are. The middle-aged man slightly lowered his head when he heard Wu Yan's question. He looked at Wu Yan's group and said, I'm the person in charge of the entrance of the Spalier World Academy. If you're an outsider, just call me manager. Person in charge of the entrance? Shoujo Misaki tapped her lips and said, In other words, you're the guard? That's one of my jobs. The person in charge of the entrance, who is also the manager, said. He swept his gaze over Wu Yan's group. At the same time, it's also my job to receive visitors, returning students, and new students. Wu Yen finally realized what was going on. He was wondering why the gate was closed so tightly. Judging from the number of people he saw at the floating plaza, there should be quite a lot of people coming to Silveria World Institute every day. Yet, the gate was closed more tightly than the gate of a vault. He did hear from Feifei and Lulu that entering the Spalier World Academy requires some sort of ceremony. But what kind of ceremony is this? It can't be that even visitors have to go through it. Looks like there's some other way to get in. Other than the dumb Astria and Flandre-chan who can't think, the girls here are all smart girls. That's why they had the same thought as Wu Yen when the manager said that. The manager turned around and ignored the noisy crowd behind him. He asked Wu Yan's group as if nothing happened. So, please tell me, are you here to enroll? Wu Yen smiled and gently placed Flandre-chan on the ground. He comforted the dissatisfied Flandre-chan and said to the manager, "That's right, we are here to enroll." As if he already guessed Wu Yan's words, the manager nodded his head with a calm expression. From this, it can be seen that this manager is already numb to the fact that he's receiving new students. In that case, allow me to explain to you the necessary procedures to enroll into the academy. The manager walked past Wu Yan's group to the small platform and pointed at it. This is the special platform created by the Spalier World Academy. I'm sure you've seen it before. There are 2 slots on it, one is the potential slot and the other is the strength slot. Just like what the name says, the potential slot is used to test the potential of the students, and the strength slot is used to test the strength of the students. Test potential and strength? Wu Yen and the other girls exchanged glances before they looked at the manager with a suspicious look. I heard that as long as the students aren't powerless, they can enter the Spalier World Academy even if they just entered Stage 1. Why would they need to test their strength and potential? The manager chuckled when he heard Wu Yan's words. This is the first time Wu Yan's group saw a change in the manager's expression. Indeed, as long as the students aren't powerless, they can be satisfied. The manager looked at the small platform and changed his tone when Wu Yan's group was confused. However, this doesn't mean that potential and strength aren't important in the Spalier World Academy. On the contrary, in this environment, these 2 things are the most important. The manager explained, in the Spalier World Academy, the students are divided into 3 levels: ordinary students, elite students, and special students. The levels are based on the potential and strength tested by the platform. Every student has to go through a test on the platform to determine their level. The manager then pointed at the Spalier World Academy's gate behind him. This gate is specially set up for the new students. Only the newcomers whose potential and strength are tested for the first time can open this gate.